Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports for this weekend, the Miami Grand Prix, of course, taking place in America, our first American race of the season. Miami, of course, a very new circuit on the Grand Prix calendar, debuting last year in 2022. And it's hopefully building up towards what could be a very, very good weekend. Lots of news to talk about, lots of things to go through, and of course we do have expert analyst and commentator Reese, who's with us. Hello Reese, how are you doing? Are you keen for this weekend?
I'm doing well, thanks to yourself, Mark. Yes, I'm extremely excited for this race weekend. A lot of upgrades that we didn't necessarily see the full potential of last weekend in Azerbaijan. Hopefully being able to be honed in a bit this weekend. The likes of Red Bull, Mercedes, also with a big upgrade, Ferrari, McLaren, a lot of other teams further down the grid as well.
Yes, and we'll get through all of that today in our preview, of course, for the Miami Grand Prix weekend. So just some facts, just to go straight into it. Of course, we are back in Miami, second race of the F1 history. And just some facts about the track. So, of course, the first time it was hosted was last year, and the number of laps that they will be racing is 57 laps. The race circuit is 5.4 kilometers long. The total race distance, therefore, will turn out to be 308 kilometers. And the current lap record, albeit they haven't had many opportunities to break it yet, is held by Max Verstappen last year with a 1 minute 31.361. That was his time last year. Can the new cars beat it? Of course, this year. Let's see if they've made enough upgrades to, of course, go and challenge that. So just a little bit of facts about the Miami Grand Prix, of course. Before last year's Miami Grand Prix, the sport had previously raced once in Florida, in Sebring, back in 1959. So not that any of you would have remembered any of that. But yes, when it moved on to the calendar for 2022, the Miami Grand Prix was licensed for 10 years. Meaning that after this year's race, there will be another 8 at minimum. So lots of races to go in Miami. So be sure to get used to the track because it's going to be around for a while. Miami is the 11th different location in the USA that has hosted a Formula One race. Crazy, isn't it? And then during the planning phase, there were reportedly 75 different track designs made for the Miami Grand Prix. That's quite a lot, I suppose there should have to be quite a lot. It's a very, very nitty-gritty sport. And lastly, I'll just go through it. And it says, when it was introduced to the calendar last year, Miami became the 77th different track used for a Formula One race. And actually not as many as I thought there would be. So just going into the schedule for the weekend so that we all understand exactly what is happening. We have got tomorrow, Friday, 5th of May, practice 1 and practice 2. These are all the times I'm going to be telling you in Eastern Standard Time, because that is the local time for the race. Practice 1 will be taking at 2:30 p.m. and practice 2 at 6 p.m. And for British Standard Time, for most of our other people, and that would be close to more of the African nations and otherwise, you're looking at 7:30 p.m. in the evening and 11 o'clock in the evening. That's British Standard Time. Saturday then comes May 6th, practice 3, 12:30 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time, and qualifying at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For British peoples, that's 5:30 and 9 p.m. respectively. And Sunday, the big race on May 7th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, otherwise 8:30 British Standard Time. And for all the South Africans, that's 10:30. So, lots to look forward to. Reese?
Yes, just the article straight going into news for this race weekend. The FIA has announced that they will be shortening some of the DRS zones in Miami. So, as reported before the season, the first 5 races of 2023 would see changes to the DRS zones, either extensions or reductions, in order to better balance overtaking. In Miami, the first 2 of 3 DRS zones have had their activation points moved further up the road, meaning that the DRS will only be allowed to be open for a shorter amount than it would have been last year. The first DRS activation points at the flat-out turn to turn 11 has been pushed back from 30 meters after turn 9 to 105 meters after the corner, reducing the DRS zone by 75 meters. The second DRS zone on the back straight has also been shortened by 75 meters and now starts 525 meters after turn 16. So quite some significant changes to the DRS zones here. Do you think that will make a big change in overtaking here in Miami, Mark?
Well, I mean, it's funny, because if you guys want to know, we go and race. Of course, every time we come to a race weekend, we go and race the equivalent track inside the game, of course, with the team. And a whole lot of comments from everybody was just saying how long these DRS zones are from last year. Of course, we were playing last year's version of the track, and just saying that it's just stupidly long in terms of like it's so easy to overtake some people. So, and I think that is what we more or less saw last year, especially with those Red Bulls, with the DRSs, of course, being like some of the most powerful on the grid. They found it so easy to make use of DRS to get ahead of everybody last year, and shortening the DRS zone would, of course, will result in Red Bull having a less opportunity, I suppose, in terms of it's a smaller space. I still think they're going to do absolutely fine with it. But what it certainly does do is it does reduce the ability for the attacking car to overtake the defending car and gives a bit more favor in the defender. Of course, having a shorter DRS zone, it's less time for the DRS to be open. Car in front can, of course, defend a bit better. And that's what we do want to see. We want to see some genuine defense, see cars right on tails for longer. So hopefully that results in better racing this weekend.
Yes, for sure. Certainly looking very much forward to that. Going now on to Red Bull, Mark.
Yes, indeed. As I said, big news, of course, this, and I'm just going to pull across the news studio here. Red Bull have, of course, and the resource alerted me to this immediately, but they have going to try and curb the curse of a special livery for this weekend. It's a really, really, really cool livery, and I would love to just try and get it to come across, but for some reason I can't get the image up. But nonetheless, we will get the image up as soon as I can. But it's a very, very cool car. So basically what's happening is they've pinstriped it with a purple, a red, and like a very light blue going across the whole car from left to right. And of course,
it's very Miami, of course.
And all those bright colors of the Miami scene. So it is very, very cool. And I can't wait to see it now.
Yes, very, very exciting to see that Red Bull is allowing fans to design the livery for their cars for 3 of the races this season. All of the American circuits are being, their cars are all being designed by a fan for each of the American circuits.
That's it. I'll just read through it. Sorry, I was just trying to get my image up, and I've got it now. So let's say, so they're going to do 3 fan-penned designs across the whole campaign. So it's going to be in Miami, Austin, and Las Vegas. All of them, the American races. So that's also quite interesting to note. They've made a special thing for all of the American races, not any of the other circuits. So that's quite interesting. I think it's maybe because... Here's a theory. Do you think it's because they think America is not quite traditional at Formula 1? So when they do these little special things that have not been a thing of the past, they're going, well, you know what? We're going to stay away from doing it like Monaco, for example, or otherwise, we keep it traditional there. You keep your normal livery. And we go to America, well, they're new. They don't care. So let's just go and put the fun stuff there.
Well, I think it's also a very good marketing tactic. I mean, we've seen how Formula One as a brand has been trying to attract the American market more and more. I think this is Red Bull's way of doing it as well. Of course, Red Bull signing with Ford for 2026. They're just getting more and more involved with the American market, possibly.
Yeah. And just continuing on here. So the judging panel for the cars, the different liveries, of course, was headed up by the Red Bull team principal Christian Horner, and included representatives from the team's title partner, Oracle, principal team partner, Bybit, and technology partner, Mobile One. And Horner had to go and say this. He says, to give our fans the opportunity to influence our design at the 3 USA races is something you just don't see other teams doing, said Horner. It is important to the team to be able to involve our fans in what we do and give them unique opportunities like this. I think Martina has done a great job, and the livery looks incredible when you see it in real life. The design keeps the ethos of who we are, but introduces Miami to the Red Bull 19 as well, the RB19. We are definitely going to stand out when you see that car on track. I'm intrigued to see what people come up with for Austin, and of course Las Vegas. That promises to be really exciting. So yeah, very, very cool. But as I said when I started this whole thing, there is normally a curse when it comes to special liveries for race weekends.
Well, you say that, but I mean, it hasn't necessarily been a curse for all of the teams. I mean, it's certainly been a curse for Mercedes when they ran that heritage livery in Germany. that did not go well.
No, that was a shocking day out for them.
Red Bull ran their Honda tribute livery, and they won that race. So I mean, maybe it's not a curse for Red Bull.
Yeah, I just think that the only problem is that you look at the recent liveries, especially last season, at least, not turning out fantastically for everybody. Ferrari, of course, running that special livery that one time with the yellow, with the more yellowified car, I suppose. Both cars didn't end up on the podium.
75th anniversary car.
And it was not a great day out for them either. So normally when teams do this sort of thing, it's sometimes for some reason some interesting things start to creep in. So whether or not we're going to see that this weekend remains to be unseen. But hopefully nothing goes too far wrong. But it is a very, very cool design. I just want to touch on it just before we move on. It's a really, really cool design. So fair play to who is it that did it again? So I just completely forgot.
Martina, I think it was.
Martina. Yes. So well played. Well played. That was it's a very cool design.
Yes, going further on from that, just looking at some of the upgrades that we have going into this weekend, we've had a lot of teams working on their floors, specifically the likes of McLaren, Red Bull, Alpine, who else? Mercedes, I'm sure, will also have some tweaks coming for this race weekend. They obviously did not get so much time last weekend in Azerbaijan to test these floors because of the sprint format for the race, for the weekend. So they will certainly be wanting to test them out properly in Miami. That is for sure.
Yeah, as I said, I thought I was quite good there with my show credentials. There's, as you said, McLaren. Boom! There's my McLaren car appearing on screen. I thought that was quite good. So appreciate Nate for that. I think we'll just go through and read this a little bit. And it goes, it says in McLaren's case, the altercations being made might at first appear to be isolated to the floor edge and edge wing, but definition and contour changes have been made to the entire surface of the floor. This includes the height of the forward floor blister, the red arrow or otherwise, which will have a direct influence over the shape of the tunnel and strakes beneath. Reese, do you want to carry on? Otherwise, I can keep going.
I was waiting. I'll take over for LP.
I'll tell you. Okay, perfect. So it just says, meanwhile, the section of the floor, this is still from McLaren, meanwhile, the section of the floor that encloses the lower side impact spar has also been modified with a crescent-shaped blister shrink wrapped around the safety structure to tighten the floor's bodywork. At the rear of the floor, it's clear to see that the interface between the side pod and ramped kick-up has also been re-characterized in order to take advantage of the changes that have been made upstream. So all of these various things, basically, as a consequence, will allow the rear portion of the floor has been modified to make better use of the new flow structures generated ahead of it. So hopefully, better airflow throughout the entire car. That is the hope.
Yes, and moving on to Alpine, the changes that they have made have not been as extensive as McLaren, but are also just as rewarding from a performance standpoint, given that there are optimizations of their design of their car already. The midway flap that's created by two cutouts on either side of the floor has now got a leading edge curl facing down towards the ground rather than away from it, whilst the surface geometry of the flap has also been adjusted besides. Thereafter, the floor has been contoured slightly differently in order to take advantage of the alterations ahead, and further modify the floor structures received by the floor cutout. Also, just some more changes made to their floor to optimize airflow around that skirt and just create a best suction underneath the car as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Red Bull also deployed a new floor in Azerbaijan, of course, as modified design in order to take advantage of revisions made to the RB19's side pod. So you're going to see lots of new floors this weekend, and lots of upgrades on various cars, which will be very interesting to go and look at, because I think we might finally see a bit more of a packed. And I know we say this every week, but I genuinely do feel this weekend, I think we're going to see some changes with regards to at least the midfield. I think you're going to see McLaren improve dramatically, and I think we're going to see Aston Martin and Ferrari, Mercedes, they're going to battle it out a lot more, I feel, this weekend. I still think Red Bull will be quite clear on top. But the challenges after that, I think, will be certainly making a bit more of a statement.
Well, we'll have to hope that Red Bull also don't make too much of a step forward this race weekend. Obviously, a lot of talk still going on that they haven't optimized last week's floor. So will that come into play this race weekend? We'll see. Maybe it was a high speed floor for them for higher speed tracks. We'll have to see. But yes, hopefully we will get some closer racing this weekend.
Yeah. And moving swiftly on to just a little bit of news just going into the weekend, not necessarily regarding Miami, but Leclerc is on Mercedes' F1 radar for the long term, but not now, says Wolff. So that's very interesting in itself. The Mercedes boss Toto Wolff says Charles Leclerc is definitely a long-term option for his Formula One team, but has ruled out any imminent move for the Ferrari ace. Speculation emerged in recent weeks that Leclerc was in talks with Mercedes as a possible replacement if Lewis Hamilton does not stay into next year. But Leclerc himself denied there's been any contact with Mercedes or its boss Wolff, although he intriguingly added the word yet at the end of his sentence. Speaking at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Wolff himself also rubbished suggestions that dialogue had opened between the team and the Monegasque driver. However, he said it would be foolish of the squad to ignore Leclerc as an option for the longer term. Wolff goes on to say, Charles is a super guy and for the long-term future, someone you need to always have on your radar. And that's clear, but not for the short and the medium term. Wolff explained that the only time he had personally spoken to Leclerc recently was when he bumped into each other at the Melbourne airport on their return from the Australian Grand Prix. Leclerc's current deal at Ferrari runs until the end of the 2024 season. The current Mercedes driver, Lewis Hamilton, is out of contract at the end of this year. So, yeah.
A lot of speculation going on, obviously, whenever someone's contract comes to an end, especially a 7-time world champion like Lewis Hamilton, there's always going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of talk. Maybe he'll get another 1-year extension, maybe a 2-year extension. We'll have to see from there, but I don't think we'll be losing Lewis Hamilton all too soon.
Also, I think the problem, or at least the issue, not necessarily a problem, is the fact that Hamilton and Wolff have got a very, very good relationship. The Mercedes team and Hamilton have worked together for many years now. You know, it's like Mercedes Hamilton is in one word. That is just that's how we know it.
At this stage, Lewis Hamilton is as much of a figure in Formula One as Valentino Rossi is in MotoGP. It's like Michael Schumacher. It's synonymous with the name Formula One.
Exactly, but I think it's also when you look at the team, you know, it's difficult for Mercedes to go and say, well, you know what, Lewis, you're getting on in years. You're not necessarily as good a driver as you used to be. We need to move on to the next best thing, which maybe they see as Charles Leclerc. He would be a very good replacement, of course. I mean, Charles Leclerc, definitely one of the top drivers on the grid. You see it in that Ferrari. You know, Carlos Sainz got that same Ferrari, yet Charles Leclerc seems to always manage to get a bit more out of the car than Carlos Sainz. And
I mean, we see that most in qualifying, where he outperforms sometimes the Red Bulls in a Ferrari that shouldn't be there.
Exactly, as I say. So Leclerc's driving credentials are certainly there to say that any top team would have him. Red Bull would happily have him, I'm sure, if they were given the opportunity at any point. Imagine a Leclerc-Verstappen partnership. That would just be absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know. I would not want to be Christian Horner.
No.
You were leading that team. Gosh.
No, not at all. But as I say, so when Mercedes do need to replace a driver, Leclerc is certainly up there as the ultimate choice in terms of best driver on the grid. You look at Max Verstappen. After that, who's your best driver? I would probably say Charles Leclerc at the moment. Not necessarily saying Lewis Hamilton's not there, just saying that in terms of future proof, Charles Leclerc is certainly there. And Lando Norris maybe as well. George Russell in with a shout, but he's already at Mercedes. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all if when Lewis Hamilton does leave, whether it's next year, the following, or the following after that Charles Leclerc is the one sought out by Mercedes.
I mean, it would be a very, very interesting partnership, Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Both, I think, very big, prominent figures, but I think they would make a good team. George has shown that he's a very good team player, as well as Charles has also shown he's a good team player. I don't know if Charles and Max driver team up would work because they both would just clash too much.
Yeah, I don't think that would work very well. But yes, so that's all speculation there from Toto Wolff and Charles Leclerc, or Charles Leclerc. However, each person wants to say it. Everyone has a different thing. But yeah, and moving on to a little bit of just slightly separate information. Reese, you've got some news on F2.
I'm actually going to hijack that a little bit and put in some Formula One 23, the game, coming out very soon. Yes, we completely forgot about it when we were setting up the stream. But very, very exciting to have Formula One 23 coming soon. EA Sports Formula 1 23 has been unveiled with a slew of fan-requested features and the return of its Breaking Point story mode. Not only will we see the return of Breaking Point, the immersive story mode, including Aiden Jackson and Devin Butler, but the new game is also set to include new improvements on the physics and, importantly, the full roster of drivers, teams, and tracks for the 2023 Formula One season from day one. That is what we want to hear as fans, of course. As we hoped and expected, the full calendar for the 2023 edition of the Formula One schedule will be included with the new game. That will include the new venues, such as the new Las Vegas Strip street course in the US and Losail International Circuit in Qatar from launch.
So keen for racing Las Vegas. I reckon that's going to be the best track of the year. I do actually think, looking at that Las Vegas track, I think that is going to be the best race of the whole season. I cannot wait to race it. It's going to be so awesome.
Yes. It's really going to be such an amazing track, not just to play in the game, but to watch later in this year. Carrying on, the last Codemasters developed Formula One game to feature red flags, which is now being reintroduced in this game, triggered after a pileup was Formula One 2014. They've been absent ever since, and dedicated Formula One fans will be happy that they are returning. It may create some havoc, though, in our Formula One streams, but we'll have to see about that. As well as handling has now been further improved in the Formula One games, making it more predictable, at least, as well as hopefully allowing it to be a bit more realistic, truer to the new cars in 2023. Also, some questions from fans asking if Podium Pass is getting revised for the F1 World. Podium Pass has been in the Formula One game since Formula One 2020 and has remained largely the same since. It includes optional challenges across Grand Prix and time trial modes that dish out XP. That XP levels you up, and when you go from one level to the next, you unlock cosmetic items such as car liveries or drivers' outfits. In Formula 1 22, this also included furniture for F1 Live as well.
Yay.
The announcement makes no mention of Podium Pass, but F1 23 is set to include an F1 World Hub. It sounds oddly familiar, but offers some distinct differences from what Podium Pass used to be. Specifically, a new progress system and form of car upgrades will now be achievable. How it ends up being being monetized is yet to be confirmed, but we can say that Bitcoin, the virtual currency with Podium Pass, is returning.
Yeah, so very, very keen to see when I can go and get that game. I cannot wait to play it. It's going to be very expensive, though. I don't have that money. But I'll tell you what, you guys can go and... If more people watch the channel, more people subscribe to the channel and like the videos and etc, 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 maybe we can go and afford the game and we can play it all for you and fool around and make a complete fool of ourselves.
Yes. So the standard edition of EA Sports Formula 1 23 is set for release on PC via EA app, Epic Games and Steam, as well as PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and all the rest on the 16th of June. The digital exclusive of EA Sports Formula 1 23 will be released on the 13th of June.
So pretty much almost my birthday. So give me a birthday present, people, please.
Is that a hint?
That's a hint, nudge, nudge. No, I'm joking. But yes, so the game, very, very keen to see that game. And then, as I say, to go and race around Las Vegas and some obviously improved circuits as they have changed a little bit for this season. And yeah, just moving on to a couple of last articles before we finish up the preview for the weekend. Do we want to go over Behrman, Reese?
Yes, I think it would be a very interesting article to read out. So just looking in Formula 2 at the moment, some talent hopefully coming into Formula 1 in the near future. Oliver Behrman, who is a Ferrari Driver Academy driver in Formula 2, has taken both feature race wins in 2023 so far in Formula 2. Red Bull junior team driver Enzo Fittipaldi secured his first podium of the year in Formula 2 ahead of ART Grand Prix and Sauber Academy driver Teo Pourchaire. Behrman, who held the lead from pole at lights out, as Pourchaire made quick work of Fittipaldi for P2, with Behrman obviously taking that race win. Behrman is looking very interesting to watch in the future. We could hopefully see him in Formula 1 very soon.
And as I say, we talked about Charles Leclerc earlier in regards to his potential moving to Mercedes in the next few years. Maybe Charles Leclerc does leave and the replacement is, in fact, Oliver Behrman. So that would be very interesting to go and follow as well.
It's looking like they may need to replace Carlos Sainz. So we'll have to keep an eye on who Ferrari have seats. Have that could come and fill those seats for them.
Do a driver swap, send Hamilton to Ferrari.
Well, there's been so many rumors about that as well. So
Dear, shocking. But yeah, lots of potential moves coming up. But very good to go and watch F2 as well, people. Really, really cool. You go and see basically the Formula One drivers of the future. And just to end off, quite an interesting little fun article here. Toto Wolff. He is going to go and teach an MBA course at the Harvard Business School. How cool is that? Mercedes Formula One team principal Toto Wolff has extended his relationship with the Harvard Business School by becoming an executive fellow and guest lecturer. The Austrian will teach a course for first and second year MBA students under the title Mercedes F1 Leading a High Performance Team. The course will take place in January 2024, taking advantage of a rare, relatively quiet period in Wolff's usual hectic schedule as boss of the Brackley organization. Wolff will teach the course in conjunction with Professor Anita Albers, with whom he has worked closely in recent years. Dutch-born Albers followed Wolff and the team during the 2021 season, studying the way he operated, and wrote a case study called Toto Wolff and the Mercedes Formula One team. Very original name, isn't it? Which led to previous appearances by Wolff at the university's campus in Massachusetts. The pair also collaborated on an article in the prestigious Harvard Business Review called Number One in Formula One, which encapsulated Wolff's approach to leadership in 6 lessons. The executive fellow role is granted to people working in various areas who are willing to teach in their spare time along with their day jobs. So very, very cool from Toto Wolff to go and take part in this. And but also, what an honor. To be asked by the top university in the world to go and explain exactly how you do things, because that's what people want to know.
yes, for sure. And Toto Wolff says there in the article, I feel very honored and privileged to continue working with the incredibly bright young minds at Harvard, said Wolff. Whenever I step on campus, I'm inspired by the students' curiosity and ambition, and I leave energized by the special learning environments they create together with the brilliant faculty. We very much look forward to welcoming Toto back to the campus, said Albers. So clearly a very, very exciting opportunity there for Toto Wolff, as well as the students at Harvard.
I say more for the students. Imagine being a Harvard student, you go there and then Toto Wolff telling you how to make Formula One cars. Not quite, but obviously how to run a team. Would be awesome. But otherwise, people, that does bring us to the end of our preview for the Miami Grand Prix. Reese, I'm going to hit it as we always do. We're going to have predictions. Your top 5. Go. For 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Go.
Oh, gosh. From 5th?
Yes, from 5th. Because I really want to introduce other drivers into this, not just the podium places.
5th, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz P4, Lance Stroll P3. Gosh. Can I change Lance Stroll with Fernando Alonso?
I was about to say, I made such a reaction. I was like, why Lance Stroll out of the 2?
Sergio Perez P2 and Max Verstappen P1.
So you have Carlos Sainz higher than Charles Leclerc.
Well, let's see.
Yes, I know I did put you on the spot there, so you might well change that. But nonetheless, I'm going to go with my top 5 here. I'm going to say Carlos Sainz P5. I'm going to say Fernando Alonso in P4, Charles Leclerc P3, and then Perez 2, Verstappen 1. I think that's my top 5, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did actually see that. I'm sure Mercedes will sneak in somewhere. Maybe Fernando Alonso sneaks onto a podium again in that 3rd place.
Well, let's see what upgrades Mercedes bring this weekend. We will obviously be watching that very closely starting tomorrow evening. What time did you say, Mark?
As I say, Eastern Standard Time. I think, as I said, it was 1:30. But anyway, we'll be streaming from about, we'll probably go live at about 9 p.m. South African Standard Time.
So now.
So pretty much now, tomorrow, exactly 24 hours. But obviously this is a recording, so it is 9 p.m. currently. Very keen to go and watch that. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, tell us your thoughts about what's going to happen this weekend with regards to Miami. And be sure to watch the channel and subscribe and turn on all the notifications so that when our live streams do go up, you can be notified. Come and join us and we can chat live throughout all of the sessions this weekend in Miami. Reese, any final thoughts on what's going to happen this weekend?
Well, I hope we get some shakeups with the upgrades coming this race weekend, but we will have to see. Very exciting race weekend ahead of us, so please do join us.
Indeed. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much for watching Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. I've been Mark, Reese has been Reese, and we'll see you this weekend. Goodbye. everybody, and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. Today's guide on how to watch the 2023 Formula One season, which kicks off this weekend. The Bahrain Grand Prix will officially get the season underway, and there is just so much action between now and about November when the season will come to an end. Just races all around the world, more sprints, more races, a busier season than ever, and yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season to see exactly if Red Bull can continue to sort of assert their dominance, if you're going to see Mercedes coming back, what are we going to see? And the question is, how can you watch all the action throughout the season? Now, the first things first is that we will do videos for every single Grand Prix. We will do videos on how to watch that particular Grand Prix on a free-to-air broadcaster. Which means that as long as you subscribe to the channel and you monitor us, you'll be able to sort of find out how to watch every single race on a free-to-air broadcaster. And so make sure you subscribe to the channel for that. Now, to be able to do that, though, however, there are very different broadcasters from around the world. So what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a VPN. Now, we recommend using ExpressVPN because we've tried and tested it, and it just works. So what you're going to do, link in the description, get ExpressVPN, get yourself that year subscription as well. If you sign up for a year subscription, you'll actually get an extra 3 months for free, which means you'll be able to start watching from this weekend, and it'll cover you up to about June next year. You're going to install ExpressVPN, and it's going to come up something look like that. And you think if you click on the right-hand side there, you're then going to get these this pop-up, and those are all the locations of all the various places where you can, connect to sort of servers. And what it does, it kind of geolocates your device. So, for example, for Bahrain, there are free-to-air broadcasts in Belgium as well as in Austria. So you connect to those locations and you go to those sites. But if you chose you wanted to watch the entire season, my recommendation would be to get F1 TV Pro. Now, it is only available in certain locations, that being the US, the Netherlands, Sweden, I think Spain, Germany. Then you'll need to use ExpressVPN if it's not covered in that region. And again, so what you do is you go on ExpressVPN, you go and select the United States, and then all you do is you turn it on. As soon as it goes green, it means that you are currently connected to a server in the United States. You're then going to go and sign up for F1 TV Pro, which is $45 for the entire year. Alternatively, it is $5 a month, which is really not a lot of money. And you can get so many more things. You can watch onboard footage with individual drivers. You get behind-the-scenes content. It really is the best way to watch Formula One. However, you can only watch it in those regions. And that is where a VPN, like ExpressVPN, will come in clutch and enable you to really sort of get the most out of F1 TV. Check out the description for a sort of step-by-step guide on exactly how you can do it. Apart from that, we'll see you guys throughout the season.
Okay, guys, everyone be aware.
So you go car setup there, and then you just select one of those. That's all.
So I use the custom setup. So I, choose pretty much the values for the aerodynamics.
Custom.
And all of that.
Oh my god.
Brian's listening to us going, that's effort. That's effort.
Oh no.
Front chamber, suspension. What? I don't even know what these numbers mean. Yeah, never mind.
Dude, the higher the number, the better it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah, so just max it out.
Increase
Put everything on full.
downforce. This is quite a turny track. What do you think?
Yeah.
Dude, I would just max it everything. Put it on full.
Okay, well, let's see. I wasn't able to look around. So hopefully I'll be able to turn though.
Everyone's gonna have so many.
I'm going to do a custom setup now.
Oh shit, okay.
If it doesn't work, you stuck with it.
I went with the downforce one.
Okay.
That's actually not a bad shot.
It's a high-speed circuit though, hey?
I asked you.
Yeah, but he said it's a twisty, turny track, but it's still speed.
I bet you're doing some
Look, you can make up time, Ryan. To be fair, none of those setups are slow.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the idea is that you'd make up time in the corners that you'd lose out on the straights, obviously.
Yeah.
that
Oh well.
anyway.
At least I changed my setup for once.
Overrated.
I'm getting a tug on my qualifying lap. Might be a bad idea because I think I'm going to lose time because he's actually going to be slow.
get you through.
No, not you. Ocon.
Oh, that was Reese. Anyway.
I'm on a warm-up lap.
Oh my goodness. I don't think it's handling all these bots.
I always seem to hear issues from you, Ryan. Don't you have quite a good PC?
But it's a laptop, so what do you think of that?
I'm having to do an overtake on my quali lap. Like, I mean, not. Like, I should have to overtake Ocon whilst he's doing a fast lap and I'm doing a fast lap because he was going that slowly.
There's a DRS zone there. That's always a good start.
Hit him.
Reese, out of curiosity, are you doing this on a medium set of tires?
Just to practice a little bit, yes.
Yeah, cool, just checking.
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining. Pitting this lap then, coming to the
What
pits
is
at
the
the end of
damage
this
on?
lap.
I assume it's off, yeah.
I would like to turn it on, but yeah, I
It
don't
can
know.
be trusted.
The problem is because we turn it off and we'd be all right for a while and then there'd be a big crash and then all of us would be KO'd.
Yeah.
Yeah. The start would be a disaster.
Yes.
That's exactly it. Problem is you hit like the wall once and it's like game over.
You mean the
And
Ryan?
then it's a bit boring. Oh, James, that's not the line, but we can try and make it work. Okay.
There's a couple of sections of the track where you can make a different line and it actually works just as well.
You're right, yeah.
This is me just trying to amp myself up for all my bad lines. It's fine.
You're not wrong though.
Young, are you on a hot lap?
I am.
Cool, I'll make sure I step it up. Oh no, are you coming to the twisty bit with me in the front? Oh no. Was this a Ferrari?
Do you think my time's good enough to retire, Reese?
No clue. I'm on a hot lap, so I'm not really looking right now.
No. Carry on.
Oh. Well, mine's better than yours. I was kind of hoping that mine would be okay.
You're gonna have to come in, James. Thank you.
Oh, that's your racing line. Good.
James, you're on my racing line. No, I'm off the racing line. No, my racing line.
Oh, here's the pits.
So far, our fastest
What a strange
lap is
entry.
at 1 minute 33.8.
Like it's got a stupid line that makes no sense.
You know what? James, I reckon we can retire.
Is that the chat, eh?
No, I'm being quite genuine because I'm looking at the times here. I'm seeing 134s and 135s at the end. For Q1, I reckon we're through for Q1. Because there's only 15 cars left, so how many do we need? How far do we need to be to get to the next session?
I don't know, does it work it out on the number of cars that you have?
That's
or-
what I'm trying to discover.
Where am I off? Where am I off?
You
You're second.
are second, so you're definitely fine. I'd retire if I were you.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can retire from each
Session, yeah.
level. Okay.
I'm doing it. I'm backing it. James, if I'm doing it, I'll back you to do it.
What if it's my time? A 133. Yo, John.
I was a late 133 as well, man.
Yuki Tsunoda's just gone quicker than me, eh?
Oh, shit. I've just, oh no. I just retired.
You're dropping it.
And I'm just seeing Yuki Tsunoda and Lewis Hamilton go quicker than me.
Bad call.
Cool. But I also don't know how many cars it's going to take in, because there are 15 cars only in total. And Q1 obviously goes down to 15. So I think I'm actually fine for Q1. I'm hoping. Unless it works out as like there's
There's
12
numbers
left and then
change.
there's 8.
Am I supposed to be going out of this, or
Nah, back yourself.
you saying that because you?
I don't want to be in the back by myself.
I think myself.
He's out. He's out.
Tell you what's a good thing is I can watch. Reese, you about to start a hot lap.
No, I'm coming in.
Who's doing a hot lap?
There's 3
I do have a
cars.
yellow flag. I think there's a Ryan in the wall, maybe.
I let the AI control me going out, and then I wasn't concentrating when I had to take
Oh,
control.
yeah, as you come out of the thing.
Yeah.
Going
Who's-
out, I also belted the wall wisdom.
Is everyone else in the
Must
pits
be-
there?
I just want to see what Fernando Alonso does here. I assume he's out. Is he out?
Fighting to get into Q2.
Well, I didn't really put too much of a great lap in there for my first one, so I might just.
My lap would have been a lot better if I didn't crash into Ocon halfway through and then try to
so
keep
everybody's
going.
inside the pit side.
Tired.
I've retired, yeah.
Everybody's pitted. It's
Yes.
only Ryan that's on track.
Nice.
So what's the catch here?
Retire. Well, I'll tell you what. Follow what happens with Fernando Alonso. If Fernando Alonso goes quicker than all of you, I suggest you go back out.
No, there's nobody out apart from
Yuki
Ryan.
Tsunoda has the fastest final sector.
Yeah.
So
It's not by much though, to be fair.
Yeah, but Yuki Tsunoda is always dominating in this game. Like, he is the best driver for some reason in these games.
I have a better first
But he's-
sector than him. Just.
1.8 seconds behind me. I'm fine.
Reese, you can definitely retire.
No, Reese,
Reese, you are safe.
I think I'm safe.
I'm just following Black Panther here doing his hot lap. Don't worry, everybody at home is also going to be able to watch Ryan's lap here. So no pressure whatsoever, because you are currently the only non-AI person behind me. So no pressure as we follow Ryan going around here.
Don't distract him.
Yeah, for sector 1 time was shit.
To be fair, he's actually doing quite well.
Don't say that.
That's a much better first sector.
Into the wall he goes. No, joking, not yet.
This is a nice section.
Ah.
Invalidated.
No.
No, it's fine. Just got on board. See his racing lines. Ooh.
Right, yeah, this is very good.
Track is too soft, by the way.
That's actually a great line, huh?
I think he's going to put in a half decent lap here. That's the problem.
I reckon
No.
the AI on. What does he do here? Does he go too deep?
No, he hits it perfectly.
Oh no, he did it well then. That's pain.
Damn.
And he goes second.
He goes second. Alright, I think you can retire, Ryan.
Yeah.
I think if you're 133, so no.
I reckon 133 is safe. I reckon 133 is safe. I think it's safe for the next qualifying session, because I think the bottom 4, if it does it based on the number of people, the bottom 4 are the ones you have to worry about. If it does it normally, then we're all safe already. I reckon it goes down to 12, then to 8.
Okay, I'll retire. How about that?
You were trying to go start.
Yeah.
I reckon it goes down to 12, then 8. And I-
That's it.
this is going to be a big chat. Ooh, here we go. Did I make it? The answer is yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey,
Woo. It's good.
the other two non-AIs are very tough as their lives, so 1, 2, and 3.
That's what I'm saying. Me and James right on the outskirts here, just making it through to the next session.
I do like how Reese is up there with a 131 on mediums.
Yeah, I was on mediums,
Get
though, to be
used to
fair.
it. Get used to it.
Did anybody get cut there, just by the way? I don't think so.
I think it's just normal qualifying, which means nobody got cut.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So
It's
Good-
not
good
like,
practice, that.
You get through to the next round, sort of thing.
No, it is now.
No, it is.
You have to be top 10 now.
Oh, okay. No one gets cut. Oh,
So
okay.
5 people will be cut this round.
Well, I was just waiting on Ryan to press OK.
So
Yeah.
I was looking at the times.
We gathered.
Yeah, all of us are waiting. Yeah, like, cool. Like, are we in the next session or not? If we don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Q2, Miami. Here we go.
Right. I'm actually going to try the softs this time rather than the medium tire. Or maybe I should put the medium tire on. Just try it out. Okay.
I don't actually have that many mediums. I only have softs.
Okay, engines fired
Yeah,
up.
well, I've got
Reset.
one soft for every qualifier in my mind. And stuff it up.
Rolls the
Jesus.
soft on the one
Who's
lap.
not going out right now?
I just said to go out. I've just seen cars.
Lovely. I'm just gonna wait a second, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to hold up the line because I don't want to do what I did last time, which was crash into Ocon on my qualifying lap.
My mate just told me the track's pretty quiet right now. We should get out there. I'm just watching the video here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars that just want to track.
I don't see anyone.
Who just went out now?
Both
Me.
Williams, an Alpine, two Ferraris, an Aston Martin. There goes Ryan.
How do you see?
So
Tell you
in your
what.
garage,
I'm in a very quiet section.
in your first tab.
If you let the AI drive your first lap, does it conserve the tires?
No.
So you
Not
should
very
do
well.
it So you should do it yourself. Okay.
Ideally.
AI always races like it's a race. The only thing it doesn't do is it doesn't use the ERS in your outlap, but it does use it, of course, in your quali.
Okay.
So even though your ERS you don't actually use, like you don't manually put it on, the AI puts it on only in the qualifying lap. Alright, let's see if I can do this on mediums, eh?
Yeah, you out as well. Bad jump.
Yes, I'm out.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was just trying to see if somebody is actually coming in top there.
I'm out on my out now.
Yeah.
Wide into turn one.
Not me.
Yeah.
I know. I was looking at my DRS thinking, is it actually open? I didn't even notice the turn. Come on, let's do decently here.
Oh, why? Yeah. God, man, I even does that.
Oh no, Russell's come up just as I'm coming around the corner. Yeah, Black George Princess.
Princess George.
Have you seen the edits of Max and Princess George on the Met?
No, I have not.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh no, this has been a shocking lap.
Probably the worst lap for me, but certainly not the best I could have.
Started so well, and then I hit the fucking wall.
Well, it's a 131, so I think I back myself to make the next session, depending on the times.
Yeah.
But now I'm scaring Reese, because he put in 131s as well.
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Yeah, he's got the extra hot compounds that we don't have access to.
Yeah, but I'll say he's got that extra little bit of give, whereas I don't.
Sandwiched in between two cars here, not ideal.
Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
There's a car behind me. I'm trying to discover whether or not I should ruin their lap or not. I think it's Sonoda. I think I should. trying to see who it is.
Oh god, what a disaster that was. No,
Yeah, this is Sonoda, I think.
just making sure I mess up Russell's lap there.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to mess up Sonoda's here. As I'm coming back to the pits. I think he's on a hot lap. That's Gasly, in fact.
That was
Just
a waste
messing
of
up
that.
his lap nicely here. Cool.
I have to go back out. I caught between two boxes during that whole thing, which is an absolute disaster.
I know, that's what I am, my first one.
No, it's
The first session I got caught behind Ocon and I had to try and overtake him on my hot lap. I was like, really?
overtaking one, braking for another. What a disaster.
Right. Question is, vendors, am I safe on the 131.5?
Yes.
Reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon I'm safe. Cool. Well, let me retire then and watch everybody else attempt.
I'm also
some race.
retiring.
What did you get?
132.
Okay.
Apparently second, but I lose
I'm
speed.
getting some more fuel and then I'll go back out. I had to abandon the lap.
I might have to redo this lap that I'm about to start. Because I've just seen that the tyres are the same ones I used in the last session.
Yeah, well, mediums. Same as me. I don't mind the mediums.
Yeah, but mine are 7% warm already.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh no.
7%.
I used my mediums the first session and the second session.
What are you really saving your socks for? For 3 sets of socks in Q1?
No, because you use your softs in the race. Ah, he didn't think about that, did he?
No, I do.
I want new softs in the race. I don't want old ones. The Red Bull engine is so different. Yeah, it's good, Chaz. This is basically our demo lap for the weekend because I'm following Reese on board.
Getting some tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks, tips and tricks.
What's most depressing is how easy he makes this track look. My word.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just following this and I'm just going like, my word, I wish I could take corners like that.
So just like it's on a simulator.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, as we said.
The chat was real.
It was good, and then, and then it stepped the wall slightly. That's still going to be, yeah, oh my word. I think you can retire, Reese. You can retire with that time.
Yeah, I think you can still use it.
I think you can still use that lap as a good indicator of how you go around the track. It's just a slight scrape on the wall at the end.
It's fine, we've still got Q. Well, if there's another Q session.
Reese is retired, so who are we waiting on? Ryan and James. James, you're right at the back of the pack. I suggest you get out there again.
No, I told you I had to abandon my lap.
Ah.
No. This lap ain't good.
So do I.
Yeah, I'm abandoning my lap.
Oh, very wide. Or in the wrong position, yeah.
Have you retired, Matt?
Everyone's retired except for you and James, right?
I'm retiring, I think I'm fine.
Oh, you'll be right down.
Chat, yeah. Ah.
Thing is, I know I can go better because I hit the wall, and I took 1 or 2 corners wide.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, my best time is 129 stuff.
Oh, I broke too much left.
James is under the pressure.
I hate
He's watching him now.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Balls people.
No.
It's looking very smooth.
Doesn't feel like it.
You can tell that he's driving because the car like turns not in like
Yeah.
it does it twitches as he corrects.
It doesn't turn
the
smoothly. It
choice.
goes left, left, left,
yeah,
left,
yeah,
left,
yeah.
left, right, left.
This is not a good lap.
Is it going to get him to the next session though? Time will tell. Only 8th. Does he back himself? Oh, James, I suppose you don't have time to go back into the pits and get out there, so I suppose you're just going to have to give up, eh?
He's gonna
Alright. It is what it is. I knew it wasn't a good lap. So it was too twitchy.
Did James make it? He did.
He did.
Just, yeah. Good. Alright, now I get to use the soft, same as Reese. Uh-huh.
So does this work now where whatever lap tires you use here, you stop the race on?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
It's actually normally quali 2 that chooses the tires for the race.
Well.
You might be in for a fun race, yeah.
I'll say, well, me or my mediums,
It doesn't make a difference.
yes, it does.
You can still
Used.
choose when you're on the line.
Not when you're going backwards, which is inevitably what happens to one of us at the start of a race.
Alright, let's go and choose the soft tire.
So we need to get new tires on.
Correct.
Soft tire is selection. Is selection.
19% for 2 of my softs already.
Haha, bitches.
Sure, we didn't ask 2 or 3. Was it a free practice in the beginning?
Alright.
All clear the garage, please.
Hello?
Cars ready to leave.
What?
Hello.
What practice are we? Oh, is this Q2 or Q3?
This is the last
Three.
two. This is the last
Yeah.
session. Right ahead of Ryan here.
I'm behind you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm right ahead of you.
The way you said that, Mark, as well, I was confused.
Alright, I don't know if you want to go ahead of me. Go ahead of me.
Right?
I like to have a big gap between me and people, and there's an AI ahead of me, so you go for it.
C.
A few AI on track.
AI is me, Mark.
Oh, is it you?
Yeah, you said-
Oh, lol. Oh, my word! I'm in the runoff zone. Apparently, I can't turn the car back around.
In reverse.
Morning.
Reset is crap.
Hello, young.
Oh, that mate. Are you not flying that one?
No, I'm on an half lap. I was so busy looking at my tires, thinking, oh, this is how we warm them up. I didn't even realize there was a braking section. I just went straight into the runoff area.
No, I hit the wall like a pelican. That's what fandoms left. actually had a really nice lap there, and I stacked it up by going in the wall. Outside of the game.
Come on, come on, come on. I reckon I can get a sub 130. Yeah, let's go. Done so well up to this point.
Ow! Yuki, what the f are you doing? Man just crashed into me.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. Damn it.
Ready to up on that? Go on.
Damn it, damn it, damn it. I thought
Happy up the AI here.
it was a good lap.
What's your time?
1.1 behind you.
Oi! Oi!
Who's Oi?
I'm being abused here
Ah.
by 2 Ferraris.
Did you get covered in smoke there, Mark?
Hmm?
Did you get covered in smoke
No, no.
when I braked? Showed up on my screen.
I didn't see it.
I assume you're going for another run.
I probably will, yeah.
Yeah, me
Of
too.
course you will. You're 0.1 behind me.
I know. So I reckon I can fix a couple of those errors. I made a bit of a late turn in the one section. I thought that could be improved on. Just don't know when to go out because I don't want to go out too early.
So our fastest lap is
Going out now.
Oh no, I was probably should I go out now. It's 5 minutes left. Got a track. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Also takes its sweet time getting onto track.
It's a very cool track, this, but only issue I have with it is that I feel like it's wide enough for overtakes, but at the same time it's not. I feel like you could end up very badly going into people.
Make it Reese a bit of a breathing room there.
Yeah, almost there.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of cars ahead of me. Let me just slow the hell down.
Also giving James a bit of room there.
Everyone's starting their hot laps there. Oh my word. It's a whole trail of hot laps.
I clipped the wall all over the shirt. Cover it. I don't think so. I can't cover it. I'm gonna stop you.
Thank you. Well, what the hell? Hold that.
Pull up.
Careful, coming up to someone.
I was doing so well, and then I clipped a wall, and I lost all my time that I made up. Oh, it's so depressing.
I clipped a wall, went all in the wrong lines. Banded that lap. I'm gonna try again now. Not ideal though.
Just make sure that the EOS is not going, because the EOS is going to be wasted.
Yeah.
How do you turn that off?
I'm not gonna beat it.
Put on purple sector in sector 2 at least. Come on! I'm losing time here though. Let's see the timer going down. Damn it, Reese is going to beat me.
I'm not coming up behind.
Oh, damn it. Whoa. Got out your way.
Thank you.
Ah, damn. I think I could have beaten Reese there if I just didn't stuff up going into the wall there.
You could have, because my second hot lap didn't go well.
Yeah, I know, I saw, because you didn't improve on
And
it,
my
so...
third one.
Ugh.
Nothing like. Fuck this up. Nah, I fucked it up again. Nah. Yeah, James.
Following a snowman who's attempting a lap here. Right at the end of this qualifying session. Can he push ahead of the Inferno and Reese Stedman, as he is currently in third? And he crosses the line to start the hot lap, I assume.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't have any battery left, so I don't know if you're going to be able to improve on your time.
Me?
Yeah, it's down to 2%.
Shit, okay, well, I do have hang out.
When there's a wall, this will work.
I think without battery, you ain't going.
Yeah, you go really, really slow down.
Check, see, I just turned it.
Yeah.
Like, it just does that sometimes, like, it blocks on its turn, and it just doesn't, like, ah,
Oh, do you have traction control off?
no.
No. He has low battery in his remotes because the other ones are being used
Oi.
on
This corner cut there.
adult toys.
Sorry, that's done. No, I'm just...
Special type session.
Hey, take one out of the vibrator and then it'll be fine.
Said this, but it doesn't work like that. The vibrator's got those rather large batteries.
Oh, it's very, is it that sort of size vibrator?
No, it's actually one of the triple A's.
No, full D, full... Yeah.
It's gotta make up for what he's lacking.
It's got full D, bro.
Ah, brilliant.
Oh.
All right, people. Well done. All right. We have ourselves a race. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. Today's guide on how to watch the 2023 Formula One season, which kicks off this weekend. The Bahrain Grand Prix will officially get the season underway, and there is just so much action between now and about November when the season will come to an end. Just races all around the world. More sprints, more races, a busier season than ever. And yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season to see exactly if Red Bull can continue to sort of assert their dominance. If you're going to see Mercedes coming back, what are we going to see? And the question is, how can you watch all the action throughout the season? Now, the first things first is that we will do videos for every single Grand Prix. We will do videos on how to watch that particular Grand Prix on a free-to-air broadcaster. Which means that as long as you subscribe to the channel and you monitor us, you'll be able to sort of find out how to watch every single race on a free-to-air broadcaster. And so make sure you subscribe to the channel for that. Now, to be able to do that, though, however, there are very different broadcasters from around the world. So what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a VPN. I recommend using ExpressVPN because we've tested it and it just works. So what you're going to do, link in the description, get ExpressVPN, get yourself that year subscription as well. If you sign up for a year subscription, you'll actually get an extra 3 months for free, which means you'll be able to start watching from this weekend and it'll cover you up to about June next year. You're going to install ExpressVPN and it's going to come up something like that. And you think if you click on the right-hand side there, you're then going to get these this pop-up, and those are all the locations of all the various places where you can, connect to sort of servers. And what it does, it kind of geolocates your device. So, for example, for Bahrain, there are free-to-air broadcasts in Belgium as well as in Austria. So you connect to those locations and you go to those sites. But if you chose you wanted to watch the entire season, my recommendation would be to get F1 TV Pro. Now, it is only available in certain locations, that being the US, the Netherlands, Sweden, I think Spain, Germany. Then you'll need to use ExpressVPN if it's not covered in that region. And again, so what you do is you go on ExpressVPN, you go and select the United States, and then all you do is you turn it on. As soon as it goes green, it means that you are currently connected to a server in the United States. You're then going to go and sign up for F1 TV Pro, which is $45 for the entire year. Alternatively, it is $5 a month, which is really not a lot of money. And you can get so many more things. You can watch onboard footage with individual drivers. You get behind-the-scenes content. It really is the best way to watch Formula One. However, you can only watch it in those regions. And that is where a VPN, like ExpressVPN, will come in clutch and enable you to really sort of get the most out of F1 TV. Check out the description for a sort of step-by-step guide on exactly how you can do it. Apart from that, we'll see you guys throughout the season. All right, let's go.
I've got a 3-stop strategy right now.
All right, ladies and lads. We're out of here. I've got a great start on Reese.
As per usual.
Got a great start.
Reese.
There's yellow flags behind me that everyone seems to still be racing.
There's always the
I'm down in 10th now. Somebody fucking span me out. Damn it.
This sun, by the way.
No, no, it's not the one, eh?
Oh yeah, that was a bit wide, eh?
Yeah, I know.
He knows.
Trust me, I know. I couldn't see the track almost.
Me and Reese fighting it out in 10th and 11th.
Oh, into the wall. Yeah, not great. Not great. We continue though. Ryan is... Matt, however, is on my ass.
I went wide.
You're gonna pull out.
I've got Hamilton on my ass, Jeff.
I need to build up a decent gap so that I can afford to get out of that DRS range.
I don't want to get out of the other section.
Yeah, no, but I like a bigger one because I need to be able to do it so I can afford a mistake every now and then. Because there will be mistakes, aplenty.
0.5 behind you, man. Now I'm like a whole 1.6.
Yeah.
I'm having to defensive driving here.
Slows you down and defending. Yo.
Want to be attacking, ends up defending.
Oh no, my remote's coming off. The thing, the top of the cap of the... No, this is depressing. My thing's coming off my remote. That little plastic piece on the top there. Yeah, it's split. It's coming off.
Hamilton literally kind of died by me. Yeah, oh, yeah, he died by me. Oh.
Successfully or?
Yeah, successfully. Well, when we say successfully, does driving into you and pushing you off the track mean successfully? That's what it is.
Sure.
Now.
So that's so wide. My word.
Oh my god, he just overtook me.
Who's
I
that?
think I'm still on the downforce settings.
I'm not turning. So, that's very slow. Nice.
It's just Young. Young didn't turn.
I couldn't turn. Literally, I couldn't turn. I let you through there, James. I'm a nice
Yeah,
guy.
thank you. Thank you. I did notice that. Or put it this way, you're either going to let me through or I was going to go right up there, honestly.
No, not turning off. Why is it in a race again?
I don't know. It works fine in the qualifying, and then gets to the race. It's like, ah.
I literally can't turn. Like, it just is not turning.
Take Hamilton this time. Yeah, I have you now.
It was such a good race.
Also, it's quite enjoyable having somebody right up with me, and now it's gone.
Yeah, trust.
Oh, in and wide. Oh, it's wheel-to-wheel action here, literally.
No, can't turn. Jesus, this is great. Can't brake either. It's more controller, it's just not responding.
It's running out of batteries.
I'm stuck for flat.
Oh dear. They've got DRS on me.
Is DRS open? DRS is not open yet.
Yeah, it is open.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Here
true.
comes Hamilton. Oh god. No chance.
Here they come. Woo!
You're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
You have to leave in the space.
All the time you have to leave the space.
What was that, Matt? Just came flying through.
I told you my brakes are literally not working at all. Tomorrow, what's the reasonably priced controller? Because we're not buying a reasonably priced controller.
V-Sport one for 1500.
And I said reasonably priced.
Yeah, 1500.
Normally my Sparkbox one, which is the Xbox One, costs about 400. And it's wide, so you don't have to worry about batteries.
Reese can get you a quote, I'm sure.
Press stop. I can't do anything. I can't stop doing anything.
Press escape.
Press escape and let the AI do it.
Well, I mean, pointless because I'm
Get your controller away.
so on off. It's everything ridiculous.
No, it's just one safety car away.
Yeah, literally. Waiting for the safety car to hit. James, defend with all your might.
Oh,
I need to build that gap up, James.
DRS straight. There's going to be an issue here. This is a very long DRS straight. Oh no, he's coming so quickly.
As you're telling me, you barely held out. Useless.
Dude, it's a long straight. I'm
I've
giving a
got
bit of a...
DRS and I'm not even catching up. Yes, it's set up a select was a disaster. Thanks.
Aha.
Ugh.
Do you have recent DRS?
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
What happened there?
Did you guys take each other out?
Yeah, beat break early. I had Hamilton up my bum, so I went for Reese's bum.
So you're telling me I've got a big gap coming up now.
Yeah.
See, the trick to doing well in this race format that we have with everybody is to stay away from danger.
Mighty War.
I was trying to.
I know.
And the trick of that is to get further ahead.
Yeah.
Hey!
Come on. There's bumper cars going on. Yeah, I can hear it. This Hamilton guy is quite annoying, by the way. Spend my life trying to chase him down. Oh.
Got it! Woo!
What'd you get?
That's the best place to overtake is that little chicane. Now he always takes back me over the straights.
Okay, the pit window's open.
Get off the way, son. Oh. That was aggressive. That was not leaving space at all.
Who are you talking about? Hamilton?
Yeah, he's just weaving on the track here. Life on him.
Oh,
Oh, a lion is not the one. Yeah, this damn DRS zone. I'm just taking in turns to catch up to each other here. Like I get to point 8 away, and then suddenly by the end of this is point 2. Oh, here we go again. Reese is not just picking backs off. Bashes Hamilton to me.
No, she's like, fuck this bloody... All these people, just get out of my way.
Put Hamilton into the wall. Only problem is I did that and now I don't have DRS because Reese is too far ahead.
You told me to evade danger, so I'm trying.
Yeah. How to evade danger. Crash into the people that are going to crash into you. Force them out of the race.
I've been taken out so many times. I'm so fair.
Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 18.8 seconds.
Oh. I have a 3-second penalty. Apparently I've been pushing my lap too much.
trying to catch up.
No, like turn. There we go.
Jason making alternative back.
Roots, yeah.
It's got a warning. Exceeding back limits there.
Oh no! No! Oh, fuck. I knew that would happen. Now Reese is going to be right up my ass. I can't turn the bloody car around. God, these things are huge.
Reset the track.
Nah, I'm good. But I've lost all that time and I made up so much time that I was going to be able to get out of the pits ahead of you guys. Now I'm not. Oh my word. How to royally stuff up your whole race.
Oh god, now I've got both these guys with DRS on me.
This lap.
This straight is ridiculously long. Ryan's just pushing Lando into the wall the whole time. Because he's looking behind me, I'm not looking forward.
Oh shit, I forgot that you do the... I forgot you had to do the pit stops yourself, so I just lost 0.8 seconds again as well.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. Or receive a penalty for danger.
God, I'm coming out right next to everybody.
When are we supposed to pit?
Traffic!
I think the next lap will tell you
Oh, I'm wide.
Oh,
Went very wide there.
English.
lap 9. Next lap.
Suppose I can use the DOS at least, is the good thing from this.
That's fine. Good luck with this corner here.
There's a hell of a train forming here. Who are we following that's slow?
I've been given a time penalty for cutting the corner once. Are you kidding me?
All you need is that once.
Russell is in my way. How is he pulling away? Ah, cheers, mate. Ah, ha, ha.
Oh, here comes Hamilton again. Why is Hamilton so much faster than me?
Seventh lap champion. By the way,
No.
catch up to someone at my pace, but anyway. Oh wait, now my car's decided to stop being stupid. Wow. The second I catch someone.
Okay, that was a bit tricky, James.
Oi!
I thought I could go deep again.
No, why is it illegal overtake?
That place back, I'm afraid. That was an illegal
James,
start.
take it back.
Why?
Take it back. Thank you.
I have taken it back.
You chop! I'm on your inside! You
I gave you
freaking...
space.
No, you gave me absolutely full space, you bugger.
Whoa, what's going on?
Just
Oh,
ruined the whole freaking race, you chop. It's the point of driving aggressively if people are just not going to leave you the space.
Well, then don't drive aggressively.
I think that's literally it's fun. Not leaving the space.
Oh, I am literally just 0.1 out of the DRS zone.
I have to catch up 9 seconds to Latifi now. Thanks to my car deciding if no one wants to stay. I caught 26 up to.
There's a class ought to be in the pits.
Okay, that's P4. You're into P4.
Oh my word, it's going to be a bit busy. Oh my living. Look at this crap. Oh my Ryan timed that beautifully. No, but I was being greedy. Oh.
oh, not another one. Ridiculous. I didn't even cut anything. I was just the right.
Ah!
That's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Chasing down Reese like a
Oh
hawk.
no, I'm spinning. Oh no, what happened there?
And now the spinning.
Oh, for the love of... Oh no, another bashing. Oh, that couldn't have gone worse. Oh, what a nightmare. It's just eating up time on it. Maybe younger toe here.
Yeah, I'm going to get the first now.
DRS is bad.
Yeah.
Oh, James, you went very deep there. Too busy looking behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Come change time. That's
Never had that happen.
2.2 seconds stop. That's how I like to see.
Literally catching Ryan.
Should catch me on the straights because of my setup.
Ah, dude. I was pulling you in, and then, yeah. Been stops. Down in 11th now. Not the one.
That one cost me. Whack! Hamilton!
Here goes Hamilton!
That's like that
Oh,
idiot.
fuck.
Okay,
Good on you.
creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds a lap. Really good stuff.
We're on last lap, huh?
Not quite.
1.5 years.
Yes, slow lost. Is a surprise.
Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps.
Fuck, that's annoying. I was doing so well, they were not.
I know, it was depressing.
Did a nice start.
Well, the TT's just spun, so I came out here, so I'm not last at least.
Greedy and James.
I lost so much time in that section. I was catching Reese nicely and I lost time there. I've got it down to 5 seconds. I thought maybe I can get down to 4 seconds and make it interesting with that 3-second time penalty, but no chance.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, looking up to my tires. Building up some battery for the last lap.
Typical.
Okay, this is your final lap. Final lap of the race.
Oh, locked up.
Not a single safety car there, eh?
Nope.
One day I need one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one purple in the second sector.
Yes, like Hamilton.
Having fun with Hamilton there, right?
Is he dickhead in this game? Not
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I agree.
I think time penalty should be tripled. Yeah.
I don't think so. If you see my time penalties.
9 seconds. Where is Ryan going to finish? Can James or Young finish ahead of him? It's quite an interesting question.
I've been bashed too many times.
It's 9 seconds, eh?
9 seconds is a long time.
No, I need it to be like 18 seconds.
Oh dear. That was long. That was long. I should have done better.
Damn it,
Past
Alonso.
Gasly, yeah. I've really struggled. He got past me. I actually let him pass me, which is probably the worst thing I could ever do.
Oh, Hamilton got ahead of me. Oh, yeah, because of my time penalty.
Idiot, James.
Oh,
Race. I did so well for about 10 of those laps, and then I just completely lost it.
we'll see Ryan across the finish line. Oh, not Ryan, Matt. Matt across the finish line.
That is a shocker.
There he goes. And he's over.
So beat Latifi.
Yes, well.
It's Latifi. Ah, dear, people.
About 2 minutes 30.
That's rubbish. Driver of the day goes to Reese. Rubbish! Rubbish. No, I'm joking. He actually deserves it today. Well, he did start first.
Yes, and then go all the way down to last.
Yeah, well, welcome to the club.
As I said, I really struggle on the starts.
I know, literally.
I think how boring it would be if you didn't.
So bored of being second.
From 5th to 12th. That was a great race, James.
Ah,
It could be
dear.
worse. It could have been 3rd to 14th.
Exactly.
14. Ouch.
But that's probably what happens when you lose about 3 odd minutes.
And George Russell had a half decent race. I mean, he started in 12th and finished 5th, and he didn't get driver of the day. Poor guy.
I mean, I was racing Hamilton and Alonso for about 90% of that race. Actually, mainly Hamilton.
So out of the 5 of us, I see Reese came first, Mark came second, Ryan came third, James came fourth. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. Today's guide on how to watch the 2023 Formula 1 season, which kicks off this weekend. The Bahrain Grand Prix will officially get the season underway, and there is just so much action between now and about November when the season will come to an end. Just races all around the world. More sprints, more races, a busier season than ever. And yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season to see exactly if Red Bull can continue to sort of assert their dominance. If you're going to see Mercedes coming back, what are we going to see? And the question is, how can you watch all the action throughout the season? Now, the first things first is that we will do videos for every single Grand Prix. We will do videos on how to watch that particular Grand Prix on a free-to-air broadcaster. Which means that as long as you subscribe to the channel and you monitor us, you'll be able to sort of find out how to watch every single race on a free-to-air broadcaster. And so make sure you subscribe to the channel for that. Now, to be able to do that, though, however, there are very different broadcasters from around the world. So what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a VPN. I really recommend using ExpressVPN because we've tried and tested it and it just works. So what you're going to do, link in the description, get ExpressVPN, get yourself that year subscription as well. If you sign up for a year subscription, you'll actually get an extra 3 months for free, which means you'll be able to start watching from this weekend and it'll cover you up to about June next year. You're going to install ExpressVPN and it's going to come up something like that. And you think if you click on the right-hand side there, you're then going to get these this pop-up, and those are all the locations of all the various places where you can, connect to sort of servers. And what it does, it kind of geolocates your device. So, for example, for Bahrain, there are free-to-air broadcasts in Belgium as well as in Austria. So you connect to those locations and you go to those sites. But if you totally wanted to watch the entire season, my recommendation would be to get F1 TV Pro. Now, it is only available in certain locations, that being the US, the Netherlands, Sweden, I think Spain, Germany. Then you'll need to use ExpressVPN if it's not covered in that region. And again, so what you do is you go on ExpressVPN, you go and select the United States, and then all you do is just turn it on. As soon as this goes green, it means that you are currently connected to a server in the United States. You're then going to go and sign up for F1 TV Pro, which is $45 for the entire year. Alternatively, it is $5 a month, which is really not a lot of money. And you can get so many more things. You can watch onboard footage with individual drivers. You get behind-the-scenes content. It really is the best way to watch Formula 1. However, you can only watch it in those regions. And that is where a VPN, like ExpressVPN, will come in clutch and enable you to really sort of get the most out of F1 TV. Check out the description for a sort of step-by-step guide on exactly how you can do it. Apart from that, we'll see you guys throughout the season. It is race day here in Miami, and of course, you are joining us on Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. Reese is with us for today, and I hope that all of you are as excited as we are as we see all of the drivers walking out onto the track with their big announcements here from Will.i.am and the whole orchestra here doing a big performance, all in anticipation of the second Miami Grand Prix and another race in the 2023 calendar. So many things to look forward to here today. Weather is going to play a part, and of course we look and see major drivers of Lewis Hamilton all the way down in 13th, Max Verstappen in 9th, and of course Lance Stroll as well in that Aston Martin all the way down in 18th. All these big teams all over the place in this grid. So many things could happen today. Reese, a very interesting race in store.
Yes, certainly very exciting. Big news though going into the session is the fact that Charles Leclerc will be taking a new gearbox. He will not be getting a penalty for that, though. He is extremely lucky about that, but he will have to take a new gearbox after that crash that he had yesterday in qualifying. Just watching Valtteri Bottas walk past the conducting Will.i.am over there. It's always an interesting spectacle when you come to Miami.
Yeah, I think interesting is
drivers don't look like they really know what to do, though.
Interesting is certainly the word that I'm going to go with. But nonetheless, we've got all these various things happening today. I mean, the most interesting things, of course, we go and look at that grid based off yesterday. Charles Leclerc, of course, going into the wall in Q3, causing a big upset in terms of where drivers positioned around the grid, as well as the track yesterday was evolving so quickly that we had major drivers not quite high up as they should be, and otherwise smaller drivers much higher up than they should be, such as Kevin Magnussen starting all the way up in 4th place for that Haas car. And another thing that somebody else was looking at, which I found very, very interesting, of course, was during race simulations in the practices, they found that Haas were keeping pace a lot better than most of the cars in the field. So if they do keep their pace relatively all right for the rest of the race they were doing in those race sims, they could finish quite high up for points with Kevin Magnussen starting up there. As we do see all of the drivers making their way out, Lance Stroll now coming out with some very interesting glasses on, and George Russell now heading out as well with sunglasses on. And yeah, so many things to look forward to here. Reese, what are you expecting in terms of the smaller drivers?
Well, I think we could have some midfield battles further down the grid, depending on whether this DRS change, of course, the FIA making 2 of the 3 DRS zones slightly shorter here this weekend. Will that be detrimental to the racing or not? That is what we will have to see, though. We certainly hope we'll get some close racing after a dismal weekend that we had in Azerbaijan with little to no overtakes.
I think just based off the fact that there are so many big drivers and big teams, big constructors all the way down on the grid, I'm sure we will have plenty of overtaking, as well as weather being a thing that's going to take part. Lots of rain happened yesterday. Almost all of the rubber on the track that they've been building up over the last 2 to 3 days has been wiped away from the rain. So it's going to be a very, very tricky track to race on. We'll surely see some safety cars out there, and as a result, some very interesting maneuvers may be happening. And
let's certainly hope that Charles Leclerc can keep his car on the track after he's already had 2 offs this race weekend. I think he's going to be quite nervous heading into this race 100%. Today.
As we just see now, the cool, calm, and best driver on the grid, in my opinion, in terms of experience, Fernando Alonso makes his way out, and I do not think there's a single driver that could make that look cool. But Fernando Alonso, in fact, did make that walkout look very, very cool, calm, collected, and just Fernando Alonso
as always.
Class. Always oozes class.
Sergio Perez now making his way out, getting close to the end of our drivers who are doing this walkout that they've decided for this race weekend. It is very different. We've had it before in Circuit of the Americas, but nothing like this.
Introducing Max Verstappen, who's looking a little bit awkward here, but handles it all right once he gets his hand up in the air, having a wave at everybody. But Sergio Perez, I also give credit, also looked quite cool coming out there, and Max Verstappen here getting a quick interview, I see.
Just saying that it's a bit difficult this race weekend after he's been asked if he'll be able to dominate. Just saying it's a bit difficult that he's down a bit further down the grid for the start of the race, but I'm sure he will be able to make a few positions on the start.
Yeah, And just to go through the starting grid for today, for those of you who might not have seen them, let's go through it. Logan Sargent in 20, Oscar Piastri 19, Lance Stroll in 18, Yuki Tsunoda 17, Lando Norris 16, Nick de Vries 15, Guan Yu Zhou 14, Lewis Hamilton 13, Nico Hulkenberg 12th, Alex Albon 11th. Please take us through the top 10.
Through the top 10, I don't have it here with me. If you can carry on.
I will carry on.
these
I do apologize. I probably should have warned you. Number 10, Valtteri Bottas. Number 9, Max Verstappen. Number 8, Esteban Ocon. Number 7, Charles Leclerc. Number 6, George Russell. Number 5, Pierre Gasly. Number 4, Kevin Magnussen. 3, Carlos Sainz. Number 2, Fernando Alonso. And number 1, Sergio Perez. We currently have the National Anthem of America being sung by...
hasn't been butchered so far, which is good. Normally they have an interesting singer doing the national anthem, but seems
can
to be...
I just confirm, sorry, Reese, this is, the singer is the Spanish singer who does Havana, isn't it? I can't remember what her name is.
No, it's not Camila Cabello.
Oh, I thought it was. Who is it?
I don't know, actually.
Well, she's not doing too bad a job. And again,
No.
another thing I've never quite understood about the Americans, they don't really like singing their anthem all that much.
No, they like to butcher it.
Well, I mean, the crowds never sing the national anthem in America. It's very odd. Only the main singer. Let's just hear who it is.
As she finishes up her rendition of the US national anthem, we are very close to getting underway here in Miami. Just another 12 minutes till we get the green light for the race here in Miami.
Indeed, and the grid is looking very jam-packed, full of celebrities, full of engineers, full of all the drivers especially as well. And yeah, lots of things happening on the grid, but they're going to need to start clearing that soon. Of course, racing is just 12 minutes away. Very exciting, of course, in Miami. And guys, if you guys are joining us on the stream, welcome. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you're looking for a way to watch along with us, be sure to go and look in the description of the video, and you will find exactly how you can do all of that for free.
Just have Christian Horner currently being asked questions by the commentators, just asking about Max Verstappen's race today, just saying that he needs to keep his head down and really just keep it neat and tidy and get ahead of those other cars. Also, just being asked about the fact that the track is once again green due to the rain yesterday. There is no rubber down on the track, so just saying it is going to be a bit difficult, but everyone else is in the same boat, so it is not just them.
And of course, a big battle for Constructors' Championship today, because Aston Martin could potentially try and get a little bit of points up with Fernando Alonso all the way up in second, and Mercedes also going to need to try and pull something out of the bag, of course, with Hamilton starting so far down. Russell not much higher up. Of course, they're currently sitting third. Lots of work to do for Lance Stroll for that Aston Martin team. Of course, Aston Martin sitting second in the Constructors' Championship. Lance Stroll all the way down in 18th. He needs to really do a lot of work today to get himself into the points, and potentially a big day for Haas, who's only got 7 points so far this season. But of course, Kevin Magnussen starting in fourth potentially could finish in the top 10 and get quite a few points for Haas as well to move themselves maybe further ahead of potentially Alpine. Interesting though, McLaren, for all they've had a very bad season up to now, have still managed to accumulate 14 points, currently sitting fifth in the Constructors' Championship.
Yes, a lot of battles going on here today. Christian Horner still being asked some questions here, just being asked about strategy today. Of course, the fact that the track is once again green certainly throws all the tyre strategies up in the air. No one is knowing how these tyres are going to last here today. It may favor people further down the grid, it may favor the people at the top of the grid. There's a lot of unknowns right now, especially with terms, well, in regards to tyre wear.
Yes, it seems that all of the celebrities have been asked to leave the grid. Only the engineers and drivers are staying currently, getting the cars ready to go. Fernando Alonso starting to gear up, get himself into his suit, ready to go and race.
Yes, not much longer now. Just another 8 minutes and 55 seconds left to go as we see the calm and collected Fernando Alonso getting ready to get into his car. We now see Sergio Perez as well with his helmet on, much more ready than Fernando. Obviously, drivers just have different ways of getting ready for a race weekend. Some prefer to sit outside of the car for a little bit longer and have their music before they get into the car. Some other drivers prefer to just get into the car and sit and wait. It's really just down to the driver's preference.
Indeed. And of course, we're looking at Fernando Alonso, currently second on that grid to get ready to go and start that first opening lap. We've seen previously Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez at the front of the grid this season already. And what happened? Can you remind us, Reese?
Well, it was at Saudi Arabia, and Fernando Alonso made a lunge in the first corner and took the lead.
Yeah, and
so I definitely think he will be taking that chance again today. I think he's got nothing to lose. He's found himself up in second position in qualifying yesterday when I don't think they really expected to be so high up. And now they have it all to fight for.
Indeed. So Fernando Alonso is surely going to make a lunge on Sergio Perez into that opening corner yet again. And the difference is...
Sergio Perez, though, critically with the inside line into that corner. So that puts him at an advantage compared to Saudi Arabia, where he had the outside line.
Indeed. But Alonso, of course, he has got all the tricks in the book, so I'm sure he'll be thinking of some form of thing. As well as Sergio Perez sometimes doesn't necessarily start well. He likes to defend rather than just go straight for the racing line. So that sometimes results in a loss of pace. It's an interesting tactic that he likes to do when he's at the front of the grid. He goes for a defensive maneuver rather than an offensive maneuver. And it might cost him if Fernando Alonso thinks about that and predicts what Sergio Perez's actions are. So lots to look for in that first opening corner between Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez. But nonetheless, also we're going to be watching Max Verstappen. He's going to be further down the grid, and I'm sure he'll be making a couple of lunges to try and take some places very early on. But differently to Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, won't be showing immaturity in terms of racing. He'll know that he cannot afford to have his car get taken out and won't risk all too much.
Yes, Max just needs to keep it clean here in order to keep himself in contention for the championship. We now have 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to go until the start. Also, very interestingly, is that the fact we have Kevin Magnussen in the top 5, Pierre Gasly in P6 there with Russell close behind. There will also be, I'm sure, a lot of fighting between the top 5 and 6 there at the beginning of this race. Just watching some replays here now of last year's race. It was a very exciting race last year. We saw how there was a lot of overtaking available. Whether it's going to be the same this race weekend, that is what we are rather itching to see. We were hoping that they'd be able to still get a lot of overtakes done with the normal DRS zones, but now they have been shortened by about 75 meters each in DRS zone 1 and 2.
Yeah, so those DRS zones having changed, as Reece said, is going to make it an interesting watch as to whether or not people can find it still relatively easy to overtake or not. Nonetheless, the fact that there's so little rubber on the track now as a result of the rain last night might very much affect the track. I think people will be very cautious going around, and caution throws some questions towards other drivers. Do they risk it to try and take somebody who's being cautious around the corner? Could that open up an opportunity for somebody to try and overtake? It's going to, I think here today it's going to be very much an experience-driven circuit. So I think it will really favor Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Kevin Magnussen, Nico Hülkenberg, the drivers that have been there, done that for many, many years. I think we'll be looking at this saying, you know what, we are actually a little bit in a better position than the rest of the drivers. We know how to handle this sort of track.
Yes, for sure. They've got the experience behind them. They've had multiple race starts in tricky conditions. It was also extremely gusty out here, very close to the beach. So we have some heavy crosswinds, which will be affecting the handling of those cars as well. These drivers just need to keep level heads, especially on the start. You do not want to lose your race all the way on the start. I mean, that is the worst thing you can do.
And we are now playing opening titles. We are getting ready to go in Miami, the 5th round, of course, of the 2023 season. The first race in the United States. We still have to have the Texas race and the Las Vegas race, the new track for this season. And Miami starting it off, of course, and very bright colors. And lots of very interesting things that all the teams have done. Red Bull, of course, running a new livery for the weekend. Will that cause them a little bit of a curse? Will that work in their favor in terms of a little bit of luck? We'll see. Just going over this track right now, top speed that you can reach 350 kilometers an hour. There are 19 turns across the track. And looking at overtake points, turn 1, a big one, of course.
Yes, just some more stats about this race circuit. The track distance is 5.4 kilometers long, 3.3 miles, with a race distance of 53 laps. The current race lap record is sitting at a 1 minute 31.6 set by Max Verstappen last year. I certainly think we will be seeing that race record getting beaten here today.
Indeed, 100%. And we look at the previous overtakes that people have done, just seeing that there's a few turns that some drivers have managed to get around, and we'll see whether or not we'll see new turns and different areas of the track that become overtake zones. Looking at the compound tires for today, C4, C3 and C2 available. The C4 the softest, the C2 the hardest available. Of course, rain is a potential factor in today's race, which could make it a very interesting spectacle, and if that should happen, you'll see drivers moving on to slicks, or wet tires. Nonetheless, we're going through the grid here. Of course, Sargent, Piastri, Stroll, Tsunoda, Norris, De Vries, and those make up the 20th to 15th place. Zhou, Hamilton in 14th and 13th place, respectively. Lewis Hamilton needing to do lots of work from there. Hulkenberg and Albon, 12th and 11th. Hulkenberg a little bit further behind his teammate Magnussen, who's all the way down at 4th. Bottas and Verstappen, number 10 and number 9. Reese, continue.
Yes, now in 8th position, just waiting for it to pop up, is Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc in 7th with that dismal qualifying yesterday, crashing out in Q3. In P6 is George Russell. In front of him is Pierre Gasly for the Alpine. In 4th for Haas is Kevin Magnussen, and 3rd, the first Ferrari, is Carlos Sainz. The highest qualifying Aston Martin is Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez up in 1st to start the race. Getting very, very close now to lights out as we see Lewis Hamilton sitting pretty in his car down in 13th position right now.
All of the blankets still on the tires. Max Verstappen got his game face on. He does look very much like he is ready to move forward and past all of the drivers ahead of him. Charles Leclerc only in 7th. He will be an early victim potentially of Max Verstappen, but that could slow Max Verstappen down, having a Ferrari who seems to have found a little bit of pace this weekend, bearing in mind he did have a bit of a crash yesterday. Ferrari not looking too slow this weekend, so it won't be very easy to get past Charles Leclerc. Fernando Alonso starting in 2nd. He also looks anything but nervous, and Sergio Perez right at the front of the grid. He's looking cool, calm and collected. We have got Miami racing just around the corner.
Yes, about 30 seconds left to go until they go on their formation lap. Not much longer left to go now. All of those engineers removing the blankets right now. Cars being jacked back on the ground. Lots and lots of fans looking out on these cars, getting ready to go out on track. 12 seconds left to go. Who is your prediction for the race winner today, Mark?
Race winner. I think I'm still going to go with Sergio Perez, starting at the front of the grid, and he's not surrounded by his teammate Max Verstappen. It's going to be difficult for Verstappen to take him. I think we're going to have to back that Red Bull car still, and given the fact that Sergio Perez is so far ahead of Verstappen, surely you look to him as a race winner. However, if some issues should happen, maybe the vast experience of Fernando Alonso could cause a huge upset.
We do have green lights now in Miami. They are going out on their formation lap right now. Everyone a lot of the grid on medium tires. Sergio Perez all the way down to Charles Leclerc in 7th, starting on mediums. Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen starting on hards. Bottas as well on mediums. And then I lose the rest from the top 10, unfortunately. But those top 10 mostly opting to take mediums. Very interesting to see that, Mark.
Yeah, as I say, mediums being chosen. We did see the medium tire being quite effective in not qualifying, but practice 3 yesterday.
In practice, yes.
As a potential fast tire. So I think that's what people used as a bit of stats there, and some interesting data, of course. So opting for the medium tire, and soft tire I think will only get used if in fact we have a late safety car perhaps in the race. So yeah, we're looking at mediums and
good
hard
strategy
tires.
call though from the Red Bulls to put Max Verstappen on a set of hards. We saw how comfortable he was in practice on that set of hards, and he was still rapid compared to the rest of the grid.
Yes, potentially he could come out obviously ahead of everybody in the pit stop, of course, going to pit stop later than everybody else. So that could be a very, very good call from Red Bull, but we'll have to see it play out. It could also be disastrous if, in fact, there are some early yellow flags and everybody goes into the pits and he doesn't get to make use of that time gained outside of the pits.
Well, historically, this track does, well, we've only had one past race, but I mean, we did have quite a few yellow flags, if I remember correctly, last year. Or yellow flags and safety cars. As we now see Max Verstappen making his way through that super tricky chicane section before the back straight. Not long left to go until all of these drivers are lined up on the grid to start the Miami Grand Prix.
We see the attendance today sitting at 270,000 people. Lots of people crammed in here in Miami for this Formula One race. We see all of the drivers placing up their
from
tires.
last year. Just a bit of a dance at the moment with all of these drivers warming up their tires. Looks like a bit of synchronized swerving right now, but very important for these drivers to get some temperature up into those tires. As we see now, Fernando Alonso just doing his final preparations before he makes his way into his grid box. Current Constructors' Championship standings are Red Bull at the front with 180 points, Aston Martin in second with 87, Mercedes in third with 76, Ferrari in fourth with 62. They will certainly be wanting to make up some points today, Ferrari.
And we are on the grid. Reese will, of course, commentate through the first lap in a bit until other such time as I can jump in. But we are ready to get going. Some of the cars are already standing on the front of the grid, just waiting for those bystanders at the back. They're taking a while to get around, so these tires will get a little bit cold in front for Perez, Alonso, and the rest. But we are so close to racing now. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and look in the description if you're looking for a way to watch as well.
Yes, getting very, very close now to the lights going out here. We see, I think that is Nick de Vries now making his way up to the grid box. That should be the last of our drivers as we now currently sit with Lewis Hamilton. Toto Wolff looking intently down at his stats and his screens, I'm sure. Now we have the green flag being waved. Let's wait for these lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lights out in Miami. Good start from Sergio Perez. Good start from Carlos Sainz. Fernando Alonso defending so far from Carlos Sainz, making a good move around the outside. Big lockup, though. Who is that is being nudged there in the back? It looks like an AlphaTauri. Still looking neat and tidy, though, so far. Kevin Magnussen losing a place to George Russell. Max Verstappen so far losing a place down in 10th position, currently trying to make up that place back from Esteban Ocon. With those hard tires, it takes a little bit longer for them to warm up. Max Verstappen just under a bit of pressure now from the second Alpine. I think that may be Ocon behind him. Sorry, Pierre Gasly ahead of him. Lando Norris also looking under a lot of pressure right now. Verstappen looking to make a move maybe down into this braking zone. Let's see what he's able to do. Ferrari of Charles Leclerc making up a position on the Haas of Kevin Magnussen right now. Max Verstappen, though, getting up ahead of Pierre Gasly, up into ninth position yet again. Next up the road for him is Valtteri Bottas. No DRS, though, yet until lap 3. So we will see this long train going on for quite a bit. So far, our standings are Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly in P4, Russell P5, Charles Leclerc in P6, Magnussen 7th, Bottas 8th, Verstappen 9, and Ocon 10th.
Indeed. And interesting there, of course, Norris almost losing his position to De Vries right at the back there, but managing to make it up. Stroll is up into 17th from 18th place. And the biggest movers so far, Magnussen is down 3 places. Meanwhile, Piastri's up 5, up into 14th. So a fantastic start for Oscar Piastri. And we'll still follow on here. Everybody's nice and bunched up close. So quite a few overtakes already happening in that opening lap, but no incidents as of yet. Very clean racing, which is great to see, of course. Alonso not dropping too far behind Perez at the moment. So doing well to stick with him. And we look at Max Verstappen, who is really gaining on Valtteri Bottas ahead of him as well.
Yes, it shouldn't take him too long to be able to make some inroads on Bottas. Bottas, of course, on that set of medium tires, Max Verstappen on a set of hards, which will take a little bit longer to heat up. It will certainly make his afternoon a little bit harder in this first opening stint of the race. Looks like there's a lot of pressure, though, being put on by Kevin Magnussen on Charles Leclerc.
And Verstappen does
just
take Magnussen.
5 seconds between those two. Neat and tidy for Max so far. That is what he needs to do today, is just slowly make his way up the grid, but does not want to take too many risks. Just showing that advantage, though, that the Red Bulls do have down those long straights. He is now looking to make a move on Kevin Magnussen. Still a little bit behind him, but he will certainly be wanting to get that over and done with quite quickly.
Perez has now managed to build a second gap on Alonso, but Alonso is keeping that a little bit lower in the lower ones and starting to make a little bit of inroads. Sainz falling away from Alonso, so Alonso pulling away with Perez from the rest of the grid. So interesting that Alonso is managing to stay ahead of the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Gasly still up in 4th, managing to hold the position very well. Russell in 5th, also staying there and thereabouts.
Very interesting to see the fact that the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, though, is so quick on this set of hards, being able to match the pace right now of the rest of the field with a set of mediums, as we already have someone in the pits. Who is that? That looks like a Williams. That looks like Logan Sargent. Oh, that is dismal for him in his home race. Sargent only born about 18 kilometers away from the track. Yeah, it looks like he has some damage, having a wing change there. I wonder what happened. That must have been at the start. We did see a big lockup from someone. If that was Sargent, that would then explain it.
Indeed. And Sargent, yeah, really just living up to, unfortunately, our prediction yesterday in terms of what we were going to say as flop of the weekend. Unfortunately, very much doing that. The pit is lasting almost up to 50 seconds now, 28.7 seconds.
Very close there, as we see
start.
Kevin Magnussen making a move on Charles Leclerc for P6. I never thought we'd see a Haas fighting with a Ferrari.
And not only that, Max Verstappen's trying to now take Leclerc's right in the back of the race control.
Getting so close there. Magnussen has a bad exit there, though. So we will see a maybe the Red Bull having a bit more pace down the straight. Turn 1, there was an incident involving, I think, Lando Norris being investigated, as we see the Ferrari trying to make a move back on the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. As now Max Verstappen is in a great position to get past Kevin Magnussen in this turn 1.
Both Magnussen and Verstappen go past Leclerc, and Leclerc falls away into 8th. Max Verstappen.
My word, this Red Bull just having so much pace down that straight.
Magnussen sticking with Verstappen, though. Let's see if he can try and get closer to him. And Leclerc just falling away. They could not stop either car overtaking him on that main straight. The Ferrari not looking very powerful there. Charles Leclerc in 8th, of course, having a new gearbox installed for the race.
Even worse for that Ferrari of Charles Leclerc right now, we have Valtteri Bottas gaining on him as well. Not looking great in the opening stage of this race for the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz, though, doing very well, up in 3rd position, 1.1 seconds off of Fernando Alonso. Alonso still able to keep within touching distance of Sergio Perez, currently 1.4 seconds off of the race leader.
Alonso just dropping off now a little bit more than he was earlier, starting to creep towards that 2-second mark, and Carlos Sainz now gaining a little bit of time on Alonso, as we say that. Gasly, however, within a second of Carlos Sainz in 3rd, so Gasly could potentially try and make a maneuver on Carlos Sainz there, and the Alpines will be very, very happy, of course, with Gasly right up there, fighting for a podium place potentially already.
I was going to say Verstappen has a bit of work to do now, but he has already taken 0.2 seconds out of George Russell's gap on this lap alone. So it should be a matter of time before Max Verstappen can get a bit closer to George Russell. As I say that, though, that gap drops a little bit between Verstappen and Russell to 2.1 seconds.
And Alonso now making up a bit of time on that main straight. You can just see that they can make time up on those main straights due to the fact they get a little bit of a windbreaker from the car in front. So Perez losing time on those straights, and Alonso managed to get a little bit closer to him, of course. Watching a replay here of the start, just noting a huge lockup there from an AlphaTauri right at the beginning there. That was where the
and he went into the back of Lando Norris. That explains why Lando Norris is all the way back at the end of the grid. Just watching the start from Lewis Hamilton's perspective. Good start from him. Neat and tidy. Not a lot of wheel spin. Being able to keep it clean and tidy into turn one. Let's see what happens here on his left. Looking neat and tidy. Gets a bit squeezed though. Oh, between a Williams and a Haas there. Just saying he hit someone in the first corner, but does not look like he has any damage.
Just watching a replay here of Nick de Vries and that big lockup where he does go into Norris. Norris had a fantastic start, but Nick de Vries just slams the brakes way too late and does hit Norris quite hard into that first corner. Norris has to take it wide and as a result loses place. But there would have been damage to Nick de Vries. Watching Max Verstappen here as well with that replay of him taking Charles Leclerc and Magnussen in the same straight. Just goes on the inside line. Leclerc just drops away so easy, and Magnussen fills in between Verstappen and Leclerc. So great.
We currently have, though, Carlos Sainz getting very, very close to the back of Fernando Alonso, as we also have Lando Norris in the pits. Just watching a replay of that at the moment. Very slow, though, trying to get that rear left off. It took them about 2 seconds just to take that tire off. So a very slow pit stop for him, just adding to Norris's woes here today.
And we're seeing here a battle for second starting to boot with Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. Alonso has fallen off of Perez a little bit, and Sainz is now sniffing blood there ahead of him. Verstappen, of course, moving very quickly. Fastest lap has just been clocked by Verstappen, but Sainz could potentially take Alonso on the main straight here.
Verstappen now 1.1 seconds behind. As I say, that 1.06 seconds behind George Russell. Russell is 1.4 seconds off of Gasly. Max Verstappen does not have to make up too much time to get up to the top of the grid. So we should see a good fight from him here today. Did you hear what Hamilton's radio said there, Mark?
He seems to be complaining about his front left. And yeah, they're just having a look at some things. The car's just not driving right, Hamilton says. So a little bit of problems there in Hamilton's Mercedes. But he's still currently holding on to that 13th position, but not getting much closer to the Williams, which is a little bit concerning, I'm sure.
Max Verstappen currently within DRS of George Russell. We should see him getting quite close now down this last DRS zone, the back straight, before we have our last big braking zone down to turn one. Max Verstappen currently doing 335 kilometers an hour down that back straight. Super fast down there with the tow from George Russell. Getting nice and close now. Their gap is just 0.6 seconds, 0.7 seconds now as I say that. Max on a set of hards, George on a set of mediums. Just watching Esteban Ocon here in the chicane section. Oh, just missing it and having to take avoiding action not to hit the bollard. Just cutting that chicane a bit short. Lucky not to damage his floor too much there.
And Alonso doing very well to pull a little bit of a gap away from Sainz so as to hopefully not be in too much danger when he goes into those DRS zones. But Gasly still staying within touchy distance of Sainz in just about 1.1 seconds behind him. Russell also 1 second behind Gasly. Verstappen, however, now within, of course, DRS range of Russell. And let's see how long it takes Verstappen to get ahead of the Mercedes.
Coming up to the first long DRS section as we have Alonso on the radio. Just saying, okay, fuels plan A minus 12. So whatever their plan A was, take 12 laps off of that. That is huge for tire degradation. It shows that they are eating up their tires right now. This could really play into the hands of Red Bull and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen currently 0.5 seconds off of the back of George Russell. Could we see him making a move down here into the second to last corner?
Of course, critically is the fact that Russell has got DRS with Gasly, so managing to stay ahead of the Red Bull as a result of that. So the Alpine really helping Russell in that Mercedes. However, I'm not sure it's going to help him too much as Max Verstappen getting very, very close to Russell for the start. Finish straight now, and the DRS is open. And let's see how close Verstappen can get to him. Will he make a maneuver as he goes into turn one? He's not going to get close enough. Russell will hold that position. And the Alpine, funny enough, still manages to stay quite far ahead of Russell, even when Russell's got his DRS open. So, yeah, very interesting, the fact that the Alpine seems to have a lot of pace.
I think Russell is just defending it, so that is allowing the Alpine just to to keep ahead of him right now. Max Verstappen, though, yet again putting in another fastest lap time, still 0.5 seconds between Verstappen and Russell. Then in front of Russell, 0.8 seconds to Pierre Gasly. Then very, very close up to the rest of the grid, with Sainz, Alonso, and Perez being split by about 2 to 3 seconds. Max Verstappen, though, just hearing from the commentators, he is able to push those tires harder with less degradation than the other drivers will get on a set of mediums, and he's able to put in faster lap times than them. Just watching a big lockup here for Hülkenberg, losing a position to an Alfa Romeo there, down in 11th position now. Verstappen once again coming down the DRS straight, wing wide open. George Russell's wing open as well.
Oh, my wing
as he
makes
has
a change. And Verstappen makes a stick. He takes Russell into 5th place. Verstappen does take Russell, and now Verstappen has Gasly in his sights. This is just far too easy for Verstappen.
Yes, Verstappen's running currently his Formula One game with AI set to 50%, so it is very, very easy for him by the looks of things.
And yet again,
Russell on the radio, though, saying big vibration on the brakes. Oh, a complaint he has had all weekend long. Max Verstappen now 0.7 seconds off of Pierre Gasly. Not much time to make up, though, to get to the back at the top, well, to get back to the top of the grid. Just watching a replay of Max Verstappen making this move on George Russell. He came from so far back, just taking a massively late lunge on the brakes there, but keeping it, making it stick critically. Red Bull mechanics are looking very happy there that Max made that move.
And Max is very, very close to Gasly here, and I'm sure he'll take him as he goes around here. He's actually getting so close to him in these difficult turning sectors, and I'm sure he's approaching that DRS zone. He will very easily, I'm sure, take Gasly. And, then his eyes will be on Sainz and the podium places. So, it's going to be quite a lot of racing for all the other drivers to try and do, because Max Verstappen has already got himself all the way pretty much up into 4th. He's got his DRS wide open. Will he take Gasly? Oh, it's going to be so easy as he dives down the inside. Gasly, I'm not even sure he's going to try and defend. Indeed, but Max Verstappen goes around, and Gasly just has to concede the position.
Yes, just making it look so easy that Max Verstappen, critically yet again, Verstappen is a set of hards, meaning he can go much longer than the rest of the grid on their set of mediums. This is just looking like it is playing well into Verstappen's hands here, as we see Russell making a late move on Pierre Gasly there, making it stick, though. Brilliant move there from George Russell, just taking an opportunity of the wounded Gasly after being overtaken by Max Verstappen. Verstappen now having to make up 2.2 seconds to get onto that podium. Just watching another onboard shot of Max Verstappen getting past Pierre Gasly there. Once again, late on the brakes and just making that move stick.
Just a brilliant move there from George Russell, making a move on that Alpine there. Just having to suddenly find pace now. Unfortunately for Gasly, doesn't have the means to get ahead of them and loses 2 places in the space of not even 30 seconds. So a very disappointing little piece of play, racing there for Pierre Gasly, but still up in 6th and has only got a Haas behind him. Leclerc cannot get past Magnussen at this point in time. So Leclerc's got lots of work to try and do still.
Leclerc just having a really bad race so far, really struggling to find pace out there. Ocon is catching him quite rapidly at this point on a set of hards. Are we seeing once again the Ferraris just really battling with tire degradation again?
I don't know if it is necessarily the Ferraris battling, because Sainz doesn't seem to have too much of an issue currently in 3rd, staying within touching distance of Alonso, but Leclerc not going very quickly at all. And of course, the only difference between him and Sainz is the fact that he's put in a new gearbox for today's race as a result of that crash yesterday, and a new floor and a new rear wing. So perhaps there might have been installation issues there.
I would hope not. I mean, they've got some of the best mechanics in the world. They shouldn't be making any mistakes. But yeah, critically, Ocon is catching him right now. You don't want to be down in, I think he's in 7th position, as we have Russell yet again on the radio. Just saying, my gut tells me it is going to be a Plan A race. I think that may be a 2-stop. Max Verstappen now 1.7 seconds off the back of Carlos Sainz, catching him quite quickly. Well, we were hoping to see some overtaking here in Miami, and I think so far we've been given that. At least there's been some action out on track.
Indeed, yeah, there has been quite a few overtakes, of course, but those have mainly been from Max Verstappen and the stronger cars on those weaker cars that found themselves further up the grid. I think what will be interesting to see is that there's more overtaking later on, of course, more of the 20 than 30 laps points. At the moment, well, of course, only 12 laps in. Verstappen all the way up into 4th at the moment. And Perez puts a fastest lap in,
We
but
saw
then
Sergio
Verstappen
Perez.
takes it as well.
Yes. We see Charles Leclerc just trying to make a move on Kevin Magnussen, looking like he has found a bit of pace again. Maybe just making some setup changes in his car and feeling a bit comfortable. A bit more comfortable, should I say.
Yes.
Just
Verstappen,
looking
yeah,
at Verstappen's deltas at the moment, just taking so much time out of Carlos Sainz every lap. 0.04 seconds on lap 8, 0.1 seconds on lap 9, 0.3 seconds on lap 10, and 0.7 seconds off of Carlos Sainz on lap 11. He is making huge gains every lap. Now 1.1 seconds off of Carlos Sainz, and critically 3rd place on the podium. Charles Leclerc, though, and Kevin Magnussen still fighting it out for 7th place right now. Carlos Sainz, though, on the radio mark.
Indeed, Carlos Sainz on the radio says, it feels the fronts are struggling now. Copy diff mid -1. It's more towards plan B. The hards are looking good. So essentially, yeah, I think tire degradation might be the problem with Leclerc and now starting to creep in for Carlos Sainz. So Ferrari needed to make a decision here with regards to moving on to a different set of tires a little bit earlier on. We do see Charles Leclerc using the DRS to try and get close to Kevin Magnussen, but not
Will he
able
make
to
a
make
move,
his
though? No, just too far back right now. Carlos Sainz only 0.6 seconds off of Fernando Alonso, very close between the two Spanish drivers. As we see Charles Leclerc making a move on Kevin Magnussen. Will he make it stick? No, he will not. Kevin Magnussen still fighting back through turn 2 and 3, but this is allowing Esteban Ocon to get so close to them. At the moment, just 0.3 seconds splitting those 3 drivers right now. Great scrap happening in the top 10.
Yeah, I think the most enjoyable thing at the moment is seeing the fact that the Haas is fighting a Ferrari and certainly keeping pace with it. So, yeah, that's fantastic for Kevin Magnussen, of course, who started further up the grid, has dropped a little bit further down, but nonetheless, still having to go and fight it out currently in 7th with that Ferrari. Although Charles Leclerc now makes a little bit of a move here on the outside. Will he try and go cut him on the inside?
Just a bit too late there, unfortunately. But he is trying to do the switchback. He is, I think, getting a bit desperate now to get past Kevin Magnussen because there is so much pressure coming from behind from Esteban Ocon's Alpine. Max Verstappen now half a second behind Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, Max Verstappen really breathing down Carlos Sainz's rear there. And Alonso, they're still quite sticking somewhat there, but Sainz is just trying to use Alonso to try and defend away from Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen's got his DRS open, but he's not going to make it stick there for taking Sainz. But I'm sure we'll see Max Verstappen get ahead of Sainz within a lap, I'm sure.
Are able to run with suffering too much downforce loss. Max, of course, will be completely eating away at these hard tires, but that is the reason Red Bull put him on these hards. They are seeming like they have a lot more pace than the mediums out here today.
Well, I'm not necessarily sure they've got a lot more pace, but they certainly are holding up a lot better than mediums, of course, which means that he can go and make a maneuver on Sainz as he goes on that DRS zone before the final sector there, and he does take
goes into the inside. Yes, he makes a bit of a move there and making it look easy yet again. Next up the road for him to overtake is Fernando Alonso. Not far up the road at all. 0.6 seconds between Verstappen and Alonso now, and then another 3.4 seconds for Max to make up on his teammate Sergio Perez in P1.
Just looking there of Fernando Alonso, permanently looking in his rearview mirror the whole time, and just sees the Max Verstappen with that DRS wide open now, trying to take him. Will Max Verstappen get over? He won't make it stick at this point in time, but Alonso knows it's just a matter of time for this Red Bull to get ahead of him, and we'll then yet again have a 1-2 Red Bull currently in the track.
Interestingly, is that we have had both McLarens making a pit stop. So both of them are running a bit out of sync at the moment. We have Max Verstappen yet again crossing the finish line and GRS wide open, trying to get closer to Fernando Alonso, but not able to get close enough right now. Half a second splitting those two. Unfortunately, what this is doing, though, it is allowing Sergio Perez just to run a little bit further up the road. Max Verstappen now has to make up about 4-5 seconds to catch Sergio Perez. Kevin Magnussen currently in the pits, though, putting on a set of hard tires. Certainly the best decision to make out there right now.
And
Verstappen, though, coming down that next DRS line.
And it does get past him.
You seem to be a few seconds ahead of me. So we're seeing that taking place now. Yes, once again, making it look very easy.
So Max Verstappen has already made up 7 places so far and is up into second. The only next driver that he needs to take is his teammate Perez. And how long can Alonso try and stay ahead of Sainz? Sainz is breathing down his neck as well.
Just watching a replay here of Max Verstappen make that move on Fernando Alonso to make so that as compared to the mediums.
And we do see some pit stops being made now. Pierre Gasly in the pits. Bottas is also in the pits. And Stroll, as a result, moves himself up into 13th place. And yeah, I'm sure we'll start to see some more drivers get into the pits as soon as possible. I'm sure Alonso might well make a dive into the pits to try and stay ahead of Carlos Sainz in terms of when Sainz should go into the pits. So Carlos Sainz will need to try and take Alonso as quickly as possible just to try and get ahead of him. I'm sure we'll see Alonso diving into the pits soon.
Yeah, just watching those pits happening now as we see Max Verstappen just ever so slightly closing that gap to Sergio Perez, 3.9 seconds now, if I am seeing correctly, Mark.
Can't tell you right now. Just watching a replay here of Lewis Hamilton.
Just a replay here of Lewis Hamilton. Good move, though, down the inside of that Williams of Alex Albon. Getting himself up into the top 9. Sainz and Alonso still running super close to each other. Max Verstappen now making that gap down to 3.2 seconds between himself and Sergio Perez.
Here, just still saying my front right is starting to give up a bit. So saying his front right is starting to give up a bit. So I think he's going to need to come into the pits a little bit sooner than he might have wanted. So yeah, Perez will go into the pits and Verstappen might well go and lead the Grand Prix.
Yes, the Red Bulls are going to certainly leave him out for a while now. He has that set of hards. He will have to look after it for a bit, but he will then want to go on the set of mediums or a set of softs near the end of the race if they are doing a one-stop strategy. Max and Red Bull could also be waiting for a safety car to give them an advantage of a stop, a shorter stop with a safety car. As we see now, Carlos Sainz with his DRS wide open, trying to get a little bit closer on Fernando Alonso, but not able to get close enough to make a move just yet. Please do let us know in the comment section where you are tuning in from. It is always great to hear from you all down in the comments. Let us know. As well as please do drop a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy the content that we are putting out for you. Also, give us any questions that you do have about the race or Formula One in general. Lewis Hamilton trying to get a bit closer to Nico Hülkenberg right now. Getting very close. Will he make a move? No, he doesn't. Just 10 meters splitting the two of them when he hits the brakes.
And we see a pit stop for George Russell. He's currently in the pits, a relatively decent stop, 2.7 seconds, and he switches on to the hards. We see Ferrari also making a stop here on Charles Leclerc, who got a 2.6 second stop. So lots of people diving into the pits, of course. Those still yet to make their way into the pits. Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, Sainz, and Alex Albon as well.
Just having a quick look at the comment section. Yes, PT, I agree with you. It should certainly be a very interesting last 15 laps if we do get a bit of a scrap between the front two. It would also be great to get a scrap between the two Spaniards of Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. I've certainly been waiting for a scrap between them for quite some time. 0.3 seconds splitting the two of them right now. Will we get a move? No, it doesn't look like it, as that gap slowly increases yet again between Alonso and Sainz.
Verstappen here not managing to get too much closer to his teammate Perez, slowly making a little bit of inroads. Alonso still staying ahead of Sainz. Interesting there. Look, Alonso still having to defend a little bit there, but Carlos Sainz right on his tail now. But I don't think he'll be able to make a
getting
stick on the
so
start
close.
finish. And Alonso doesn't have to deal with him anymore as Carlos Sainz dives down the pits. Oh, huge lockup though from Carlos Sainz. I think he might well get penalties there because he's gone over lines and everything there as he's coming into the pits.
If he is going over the speed that you're supposed to do in the pits, then he will get a penalty. Let's hope he will not get too much of a penalty for that. Max Verstappen now 2.2 seconds between himself and Sergio Perez. Lots of little battles happening further down the grid. Carlos Sainz coming under pressure from, is that a Williams behind him?
I think
no, sorry, that looks like it. Yes, it is Carlos Sainz as he has come out the pits. Yeah. Just having some warmer tires possibly, and Sainz just struggling to get those tires warmed up. Watching a replay of Sergio Perez, just looking at the graining on his front left tire. It is looking like it is opening up a bit. He may have to come into the pits very soon. The front right is looking quite clean, but the front left with that blistering certainly does not look very comfortable for Sergio Perez, as we now have Max Verstappen 1.7 seconds off the back of Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen starting down in 9th position, making up multiple places, and now up into 2nd.
And just notably, of course, Leclerc all the way down to 15th at the moment. Still a lot of people needing to pit still, but I'm not sure he's going to go that much further ahead of everybody. As you see, a whole lot of DRS is open as we see this DRS train has formed. Whereabouts Hamilton, Sainz, Albon, Tsunoda. That's behind Albon is the main one, but then just in front of that is Hamilton and Sainz, of course. Hülkenberg getting quite a bit away from Hamilton, and we see a move here being done from Carlos Sainz on Hamilton, and he does make a stick as he goes down the inside there. A great little maneuver there from Carlos Sainz. He moves himself into 6th. Hamilton now in 7th.
Verstappen getting nice and close now to our race leader, Sergio Perez. We should hopefully see a bit of a scrap here if Red Bull allow it. Will they put Sergio Perez before Max Verstappen gets too close to him, or will they allow their cars to scrap it out for first place on the track?
Logically, you have to pit Perez anyway because those tires are seemingly starting to lose it a bit. You want to get them in as soon as possible in terms of you want to keep him a little bit ahead of Verstappen, but as soon as Verstappen's within touching distance, you'd go and pit him, I'm sure.
They may be waiting as well for possibly a yellow flag or a safety car, but it looks like time is running out for Sergio Perez now. They may just have to, yes, as I see the Red Bull mechanics starting to get those tires for Sergio Perez ready. Charles Leclerc all the way down in 15th position as Sergio Perez finally gets that that radio message to tell him box. Verstappen now taking the lead of the race. .2 second pit stop there for Sergio Perez. Very well done for the Red Bull mechanics. A very, very fast pit time.
Oh, we
Let's
see a
see where
big move
Sergio
here
Perez.
from it's Charles Leclerc on the Haas. I think it is also Sainz on Hulkenberg.
It's
It is
Carlos
Sainz
Sainz on Hulkenberg.
And Sainz is now
As
within
we see
touching distance of Perez.
Perez coming out in 4th position. Very good pit stop for the Red Bull mechanics, keeping their car in contention for the top 5 right now. Will Carlos Sainz, though, be able to get close enough to him with warmer tyres? Interesting, though, to see that the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton is starting to come into its own here in the middle section of this race.
Indeed, 100%. As we see Hamilton now in 6th, chasing down Nico Hulkenberg. I think Aston Martin need to really think about putting Alonso into the pits as soon as possible. Alonso, of course, was sitting in 3rd position behind those 2 Red Bulls, but he's losing time to the cars behind him, and he could come out. He could very well come out behind more cars than he was expecting, so he needs to get in there.
Replay of Max Verstappen at the moment. Yeah, his front left tire is starting to open quite a bit there, so maybe those hards not able to last as long as we hoped. Max Verstappen, though, with quite a big gap over 4th place, the other driver who he has to worry about for the lead. 18.7 seconds splitting those 2 drivers at the moment. Verstappen on the radio. Just saying he's having an issue with upshifts at the moment, that they're not very smooth. Hopefully their race engineers are able to make a little bit of a change. As we see, the pit stop average time here is 17 seconds. So right now, Max Verstappen has a clear pit stop ahead of Sergio Perez. As we see a lot of scrapping happening down in the midfield.
He's sitting in 10th place, but he's yet to make a stop, as are all of the drivers ahead of him up into 6th. So Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Albon, Stroll have yet to make a stop. So they're going to need to make a pit stop soon. As are you seeing here, a Red Bull of Perez take Ocon, move himself into 3rd position, just 4 seconds behind Alonso. Alonso would surely be needing to get into the pits as soon as possible to get onto those hards as well as everybody else on those hards, and seemingly going quicker.
Yeah, Sergio Perez making that move look so easy down the inside of Esteban Ocon. Max Verstappen's gap to Sergio Perez is right on the limit at the moment, just sitting at 17.5 seconds. So if Max Verstappen has a less than optimal pit stop, he will lose that track position to Sergio.
Just an interesting little piece of information here. Alonso has gone onto the radio and said, we are extending. So clearly he wants to stay on the medium tire for a little bit longer. Maybe he's thinking that the degradation on the hard tire is not as favorable as some people might be thinking. He's thinking, you know what, the mediums can last longer than people think. So maybe he wants to stay on them a little bit longer to hopefully...
As we see someone going into the pits there, I don't know who it was. We have Albon in the pits.
Yeah. So I think maybe Verstappen's thinking we could potentially turn this into a one-stop race.
Verstappen, though, still keeping that gap at 17.8 seconds. Yes, it could be.
News.
Oh, Carlos Sainz has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
5-second penalties for Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz now, with that penalty, is going to make it a lot more difficult for him to stay ahead in this race, and he's going to really need to put the pedal to the metal.
We did think that was possible when we saw him make that massive lockup. Russell on the radio just saying, check the front wing. Let's just see him coming down this front section. It looks neat. Still looks like there is still all the elements that are supposed to be on there, as he does make a move now down the inside of the Haas. Sorry, Lewis Hamilton making a move down the inside of Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah, Russell right on the back of Stroll here, complaining about his front wing.
Does look fine, though.
Looks absolutely fine.
I did have a bit of a look there, yes. He either maybe hit a wall or just tagged the back of Lance Stroll there.
He's getting very close to it, and I think Lance Stroll is going to come under a lot of pressure from that Mercedes. As soon as the DRS comes into play, DRS should open in just 3, 2, 1, and the DRS is now open for George Russell. Let's see how quickly he can catch Stroll.
Under his visor here, will he be able to make a move down inside? He's so close.
And Stroll makes an interesting defense to go down the inside. Does very well to keep Russell behind him.
Aston Martin still staying ahead, but will he be able to hold off George Russell down the start finish straight? George Russell diving to the inside and just making it past him down the straight. Doesn't even need to wait until the braking zone. That gap once again dropping though from Verstappen to Alonso, 4.5 seconds between those two drivers right now. Gap down to Perez though from Alonso is 12.7 seconds. It is
Russell
so
being
so
told
close.
his front wing is fine.
Good news for George Russell, I'm sure. George Russell currently running in P9 ahead of Lance Stroll in P10.
So just looking at Stroll, at Alonso right now as to where he would come out if he had to go into the pits at the moment. Currently looking at about a 17 to 19 second delay or time lost in the pits. So if Alonso should go into the pits, he should be coming out just behind Ocon, still ahead of Sainz by a little bit of a distance. And that just tells you that maybe the medium... Oh, as we said, that Alonso has gone into the pits. So let's see whereabouts he does come out. So Alonso has gone at the pits at the 25 lap mark. Needs a very good pit stop, of course, from that Aston Martin team to stay ahead of Carlos Sainz and maybe potentially somehow come out ahead of Ocon. Let's see the pit stop. It is a beautiful
As we see
pit stop.
Haas making a move down the inside of an Alfa Romeo there. Sergio Perez now taking the fastest lap time. That gap between Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen sitting at 17.0 seconds. So Max Verstappen, if he wants to make a pit stop now in this phase of the race, it needs to be right now if he wants to hold on to P1.
Alonso at the moment, unfortunately, losing that position to Sainz. That was not part of the plan, I'm sure.
Verstappen on the radio. Just being told what is the limitations on the mediums. So Max is just trying to start preparing himself for his next stint, which we believe will be on a set of mediums. Max just asking for more information there. The Indians, though, leave us to do our jobs, really. They do a lot on that pit wall, and Max is just asking for more information. You understand why he's in the car, just trying to prepare himself for the next stint on a set of mediums, which other drivers were certainly struggling on out there.
Just watching a replay here of Pierre Gasly making a move on, I think it's Stroll. It is indeed Stroll, and he does make that move stick. A very good maneuver there, just off that second DRS zone into those tricky corner bits, and does very well to get ahead of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll, of course, still yet to make a pit stop.
Bit of a dismal race yet again for the McLarens. We were hoping that they would have a bit more pace this weekend. They were certainly showing some more pace in FP2 and FP3, but once again, just nowhere in the race. Sergio Perez, though, setting the fastest lap times right now, a 1:31.444. Stroll on the radio now. Just shouting at his engineers, asking for information on what's happening with the race. Being told that the pace is good at the moment relative to the rest of the hard runners, as we now see Fernando Alonso scrapping it out with Carlos Sainz for fourth position.
This will be a very little interesting
close.
battle here. Of course, Fernando Alonso, so much experience, and it's on fresher, hard tyres, but Carlos Sainz has been on those tyres a little bit longer, so it might be a little bit warmer. Fernando Alonso, is he going to take him with his DRS? He's very close to Carlos Sainz, and if he does get ahead of him, he returns back into that third place position. And the fourth place position, of course, Ocon still
DRS now wide open down that back straight. Will he have enough time to make a move? Having a little look there down the inside, but still not close enough. Maybe down this next start-finish straight, he will be able to make a big lunge on Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen doing well to keep that gap behind him to Sergio Perez at bay for now, just keeping it at 16.5 seconds, just under what he needs to have a clean pit stop, but still at an advantage for now. Just looking at a replay of George Russell making a move on Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki down in 9th now. George Russell moving himself up into 8th. Great coverage from Formula One there, showing a static screen.
Alonso getting very close to Sainz, and he makes a dive. Oh my word, what's happened to Sainz? He almost looked like he slowed down way too much there. But could Carlos Sainz come back at Fernando Alonso? No, he can't. Fernando Alonso makes a stick. Fantastic driving there from Fernando Alonso. Gets ahead of Sainz with almost a little bit of ease there coming into that tricky section. But now, of course, Carlos Sainz will have DRS in that last DRS zone. Will he be able to try and get ahead of that Aston Martin, all down to whether or not Alonso can stay ahead? That DRS is going to open now for Carlos Sainz. Let's see whether or not Alonso can stay ahead of him.
Alonso just lucky to keep out of that touching range of Carlos Sainz, luckily getting a bit of a slipstream from the Williams ahead of him.
So a great little maneuvers there from Alonso to move back into fourth position. Of course, Ocon ahead of him still needs to pit. So Alonso should still hold on to that third place position. But Carlos Sainz now getting very close to Fernando Alonso. So this will be a battle to follow as well.
Max Verstappen still in the lead, managing to keep Sergio Perez at bay for now. Sergio, looks like there was a bit of a mistake from the Haas there. Now, George Russell is super, super close to the back of, who is it there? Nico Hülkenberg. Esteban Ocon critically up in third at the moment. Fernando Alonso will be wanting to take that away from him, I'm very sure. Esteban Ocon, though, I think also yet to pit. George Russell now breathing down the neck of Nico Hülkenberg. Will he make a move down into this turn? Yes, he does, making it look so easy in turn 11. Sergio Perez on the radio. Just asking currently what Max's pace is so he can match it or better it to hopefully close that gap down. Still, the gap between Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen sitting at 16.1 seconds.
Alonso getting very close to Ocon now. So will Alonso make a dive in this lap here? Of course, Ocon still yet to pit, so really does need to manage those tires quite well.
Still following, though, Max Verstappen, unfortunately not able to see that action between Ocon and Alonso, but they are getting so close. 0.4 seconds between the two, as you said, Mark. Just having a look at the Red Bull pit wall, they will be doing a lot of calculations, I'm sure. Just having a look at Hannah Schmitz, their chief strategist there at Red Bull, having made so many fantastic strategic decisions over the years.
Just watching here, Alonso going to try and take Ocon in the same place where he took Sainz. He's making a move now. DRS will open just past this point here. DRS is now open. Will he dive down the inside? Same maneuver that he did on Sainz, he will do on Ocon. He's going to make the stick a lot easier and gets past him. Doesn't even have to worry about the braking zone. Alonso moves into third position.
Max Verstappen being told by his engineer where he needs to just manage his tires a little bit in certain sections. As we see now, Sergio Perez breaking that 16-second barrier to Max Verstappen, now 15.9 seconds between the two of them. Max also being told on the radio that the track is getting a bit dusty, possibly due to a lot of the wind out there, just blowing some sand and dust out onto track. So also being told to just look after his tires a little bit more due to that. Just looking at the wind direction at the moment, we have a 7.2 kilometer an hour crosswind. That really does affect these cars. These cars are so sensitive to crosswinds.
Now, crucially here, I think Alonso's taken Ocon at a very good point, because I think he's going to try and use Ocon now to do all of the defense for him in terms of with Sainz. Of course, Ocon's still yet to go to the pits, so still managing those tires at the moment, whereas Carlos Sainz is now going to have to try and get past Ocon, and that's going to take a little bit of time. And can Alonso build up a second gap to Ocon to perhaps get away from that DRS zone of Carlos Sainz to then build a little bit of a gap between him and that Ferrari?
What he really needs to do, though, is just ever so slightly back up. He's done it perfectly into this DRS section. He's kept Ocon critically just within DRS, so he will be able to still tag along on the back of
well, the Carlos Sainz makes a move, and he does get past him.
Oh, so that did not work out all that great for Alonso, who would have loved for Ocon just to keep Sainz at bay for a few laps.
I think Alonso should have pushed a little bit harder there to try and get ahead of that 1 second gap, as Sainz will surely move into that DRS range on Fernando Alonso.
Verstappen once again on the radio. Verstappen being told he is now free to lean on those tires.
I'm just noting there's a bit of debris on that DRS straight, by the way. All the drivers are having to go to the left to just avoid something on the track. It looks like some form of plant or something, but nobody's willing to go and test, of course, what it is. Something on the track there, so not ideal.
We may get a quick flag if that is able to be retrieved. If not, then the drivers will just have to move around it, unfortunately.
There's a little bit of a gap after Piastri to Sargent, so there's a little bit of a small window of opportunity for anybody to go and grab that piece of debris. Of course, they're going to have to put a little bit of yellow flags there to go and retrieve it. So whether or not they will opt to do that or not, who knows? They might well just leave it there, as seemingly most drivers do see it, so might not be causing that big of a danger.
Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen still leading the pack at the moment. Both of them 12 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. Max Verstappen 15 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez. He is once again increasing that gap to Sergio Perez. It was under 15 seconds and it is now 15.1. Fuel is obviously much lower now as we get a bit further into the race. 31 laps out of 57 laps. Still no safety cars, no retirements from this race so far. We still have 20 drivers running. Not very common in the modern age of Formula One with these huge cars that are so easy to just lose. But so far, our 20 drivers keeping it neat and tidy out on track. Max Verstappen currently leading from Sergio Perez, 15.3 seconds between those two drivers. Lewis Hamilton currently being told on the radio about who he is racing.
Yes, and we see Russell is gaining significant time on Hamilton. Of course, both Mercedes sitting in 6th and 7th respectively, and they're going to be eyeing that Alpine of Ocon, who's up in 5th. Alonso, crucially, is also managing to hold a 1.5 second odd gap to the Ferrari of Sainz behind him. So Alonso sticking very well in 3rd. Those two Red Bulls, of course, very far out in front. But there's a big battle starting to brew there behind Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Gasly, and Stroll, all following him very closely, all battling for that 8th place with a little bit of a DRS trade forming there. So going to be very interesting.
All of them are within 1 second to each other. So we could certainly see some action happening out on track. As we see Guan Yu Zhou in the pits. Hamilton once again on the radio. Hamilton saying George Russell can go by, but he is not going to back off, pretty much saying George Russell can get past me when he makes a move himself on track. I'm not going to give it to him.
I think also what Hamilton's there saying as well is the fact that, you know, he won't, or there you do see
there we
it
go,
happen,
as he actually does now
hand
hand that place to George Russell, being told on the radio, I assume, just get away from Russell now. He is on a different stratus. Max Verstappen now setting the fastest lap of the race. Let's just wait a second for that lap time to come up. Let's see if it is a new track record. Russell, yet again on the radio, just saying thank you very much appreciated to Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen's fastest lap time at 1:31.293. Hamilton, though, keeping on the back of George Russell at the moment. Russell will just be dragging him along, hopefully to catch Esteban Ocon and get themselves up into those podium positions.
So currently looking at the grid, I think small concerns are going to have to be raised around Charles Leclerc, who's all the way down in 13th and not making any strides whatsoever. Something is definitely not working very well in that car for Charles Leclerc. 1.4 seconds behind Magnussen, who's in 12th. And doesn't look like he's gaining him at any point in time. So big concerns there for Ferrari. Meanwhile, Stroll is up into 11th, having started all the way down in 18th. So he's almost into the points for Aston Martin. So not doing a too bad a drive there. Of course, earlier on the radio, they did say he was managing his pace very well.
Verstappen currently on the radio.
We do finally see Tsunoda takes Hülkenberg, and Sainz has been taken by Ocon. Hey? Just on another point there. Ocon has taken Sainz out of nowhere.
As we now see Ocon trying to make a move on Fernando Alonso. There's a lot of traffic out there. Sorry, that is Stroll. Sorry, Stroll and Gasly. Just getting very confused with these sister cars at the moment. I mean, we've got both Aston Martins fighting it out with an Alpine. It's going to get confusing out here.
Yeah, Alonso not under pressure from Ocon yet, as he's got a 3-second gap to him. But Alonso not having to worry about Sainz anymore because of Ocon taking Sainz. I would love to see a replay of how that happened.
Yes, that's certainly very unexpected. Carlos Sainz, though, within touching distance, still 0.5 seconds between those two drivers. Positions lost, though, at the moment. Pierre Gasly has lost 5 positions. Charles Leclerc lost 6 positions. And Kevin Magnussen, who started in, I think it was 5th, has lost 8 positions, as we have someone diving into the pits. Who was that? Hulkenberg, yes. Diving into the pits now.
And Leclerc has crucially finally caught up to that DRS train, so he's going to have a little bit of DRS to help him move up the grid a little bit more. Of course, there are some that need to go into the pits ahead of Leclerc, so he should hopefully get back into the points, but still not making a great amount of time up on those drivers ahead of him.
Not the fastest pit stop for Nico Hulkenberg, a 2.9-second pit stop, at least under 3 seconds, but still not ideal for him there. Max Verstappen, though, and Sergio Perez still leading Verstappen ever so slightly, inching out his lead on Sergio Perez just under 16 seconds. As we see Carlos Sainz once again making a move. Is that Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc? Yes, Carlos Sainz getting himself back past Ocon yet again.
So an interesting little battle there brewing in that 4th position. Ocon and Sainz changing positions there. He's saying the car is jumping all over the place as Leclerc. That's what Leclerc's saying. So clearly there are issues with perhaps the floor.
Just not looking very comfortable out there today for Charles Leclerc. We were hoping to see him putting up a bit of a fight taking into consideration his pace that he's had all weekend. Carlos making that move look quite neat and tidy on Esteban Ocon. Don't say that, Mark, because you're now going to jinx him a bit.
It'll make the race interesting. It'll make the race interesting if we suddenly had a crash. Not saying that we need one. But,
the only drivers yet to make a pit stop, Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll out on track. Everyone else having made a pit stop over the mediums or their original race tires. Nico Hulkenberg currently on his first lap on his new set of mediums. The Red Bull team will certainly be watching very closely at Nico Hulkenberg's race time or lap times in order to decide whether it is time to bring Max Verstappen into the pits yet.
I think Max Verstappen clearly on a one-stop strategy, of course, so they're going to want to move on to the mediums as late as possible. Of course, bearing in mind the hards can't lose time, but he's managing to hold that about 16-second gap to Perez, so clearly not losing too much time at all. Carlos Sainz 3 seconds behind Alonso at the moment, so Alonso still comfortably in 3rd behind those 2 Red Bulls, so looking like a good day for Aston Martin.
Max Verstappen has yet again set a fastest lap time at 1:31.225. Interestingly enough, we still have a bit of a battle for 5th position between Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and now George Russell getting himself into that battle. Getting super close now to Esteban Ocon, George Russell within DRS of Ocon. Max Verstappen, though, with a pit stop, should still come out ahead of Fernando Alonso. He has now increased that gap, though, to 16 seconds. George Russell now making a move on Esteban Ocon with his new set of hards, making that look quite easy down into turn 1. Sainz, though, critically, we cannot forget he has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Kevin Magnussen getting a bit squirrely there and missing that tricky chicane section down into turn, I think it is about 15 and 16.
Yes, as I say, that time penalty, though, for Sainz doesn't seem to buy his name at this point in time. So did he not serve it when he was in the pits?
I don't think he did, but maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because that would be great if he had served that penalty already and is still up and forth. Sainz getting quite close now, or is that... No, sorry, Leclerc getting quite close now to Kevin Magnussen for 11th position. Certainly not where Ferrari thought their fight would be up today. Sergio Perez now taking that fastest lap time away from Max Verstappen, a 31.1.
Charles
As we
Leclerc
see
makes
now,
a
Charles
move
Leclerc
on
making a move.
Magnussen, and he does get past him just right at the end of that lap in this third sector there. So does well to get past him. Moves into 11th and has now got Stroll in his sights. Stroll moving up into 9th as a result of Tsunoda going into the pits. So Charles Leclerc moves into the points, and Charles Leclerc then loses the position to Magnussen as he comes off that main straight. How on earth did that happen?
Just showing that that car is really, really struggling for pace out there today. Yuki Tsunoda in the pits right now with a 3.3 second stop. Hulkenberg, though, setting the fastest lap there out on track.
Yes, indeed. And I think that might be something Red Bull will look at and say we might want to get Max onto those medium tires and get him back out onto the track after his pit stop there. As we see, George Russell makes a move on Sainz and gets into 4th. Sainz now dropping into 5th place. George Russell into 4th.
Max Verstappen should be being brought into the pits very soon, I am sure. Currently out on lap 38 of the 57-lap race. So only 19 laps Max will have to do on a set of mediums if he boxes now. I'm sure they will bring him in very soon. Charles Leclerc, though, getting once again very close on the back of Nico Hulkenberg. Will he have enough pace, though, to get past him down the straight?
And you can just see how much porpoising is happening on Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, certainly some great issues for Charles Leclerc out there today.
Hamilton is in the pits currently, so he's going to drop some positions, of course. Where does he come out? That'll be something interesting to watch. Let's see how good the pit stop is. And
Charles Leclerc, though, getting very close to Nico Hulkenberg down the start-finish straight. Will he make that move yet again? He is alongside him now, approaching turn 1. And yes, he makes that move stick on a set of old hard tires. Hamilton exiting the pits now, just taking off a test strip from his visor. Exiting the pits now. Where does he come out? So far in 13th position, his starting place. So not great for Lewis Hamilton yet again today, down in 13th, but it looks like this is his second stop of the day, so we could be seeing some more pit stops from the rest of the grid. Max Verstappen brought that gap back up again, though, to 17 seconds to Sergio Perez, so we could be seeing a pit stop coming from him very soon.
Notably, a Stroll is up into 8th position, of course, still yet to pit, but if he should go into the pits, he should come out ahead, perhaps, of Tsunoda, which will put him up into 14th place, or perhaps a little bit lower than that, but nonetheless, shouldn't be too bad for Stroll at the point in time. He's one of the only drivers, along with Max Verstappen, who has yet to pit.
Yes, I agree, PT. Just saying there in the comment section, they better not fudge Max's pit stop. Max has done a phenomenal job out on track today. Red Bull have one stop to do for Max. They just need to keep it clean and tidy. George Russell getting past. Is that Carlos Sainz there for 4th position? Yes, it is. Just following Sergio out on track right now. 17.1 seconds off the back of Max Verstappen, who is yet to make a pit stop here today. Still out on track, though, Max Verstappen not coming to the pits just yet. I think he is going to leave it till the last second, till those hards are absolutely destroyed.
Well, I think he'll obviously stay out on track until such time as those tires start to slow down. At this point in time, certainly not looking like it, with a 17.2 second gap to Perez. Alonso 15 seconds behind Perez himself, and Russell then 6.5 seconds to Alonso. But the time is starting to creep down ever so slightly from Russell to Alonso, but Alonso shouldn't have to worry yet, as Lewis Hamilton is making a look at a move on his former teammate Bottas in that Alfa Romeo and getting very, very close to him. Should be able to make use of that DRS.
Trying to make a move on the outside, but just great driving from Valtteri Bottas, putting his car in the middle of the road, not allowing Hamilton to make a move on him. Will we see Hamilton getting a bit closer, though, down this DRS back straight? Let's see if he is able to make a move on Valtteri Bottas. Max, once again, just eking out that lead on Sergio Perez. 17.4 seconds. It was 17.5. Now down to 17.4. Hamilton making a bit of a late move on the outside. Will he be able to make the switchback, though, on Valtteri Bottas? Looking very, very close down the start finish straight. So close between those two drivers.
Great little overtake there from Hamilton on Bottas there. And he does get ahead of him and into 10th. And it will now be hunting down Magnussen, of course.
Hamilton just getting very far ahead of who was at that Valtteri Bottas, now just eking out his lead now. Only 2 drivers left to pit. Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll yet to make a pit stop in this race. We should see them coming in very soon, as we only have 16 laps left of this race. 17.8 seconds splitting Max Verstappen on super old tires, 41 lap old tires, with Sergio Perez behind him on much fresher tires. Max once again going purple in the first sector, just putting in even faster lap times right now. I'm sure Max will be coming in very soon with these times that he is putting in, just preparing himself for a pit stop. Will he come into the pits now at the end of this lap? No, he won't. He carries on yet again. Alonso just having a bit of a lonely race here now today. 7 seconds off of George Russell and 14 seconds off of Sergio Perez, as we have a look there at that fake marina here in Miami. A lot of talk about that last year, but they still decided to keep it for this year, as we see Max Verstappen still on another flyer of a lap. Currently down in turn 10, down the super long DRS straight, making his way now to turn 11, the big breaking point into that super tricky middle section. Hamilton currently setting the timing boards alight, about to finish his lap. Let's see if he is able to take the fastest lap time. Not at the moment, but a lot of pace coming out of that Mercedes right now. Just having a little bit of a correction down into turn 1, but looking neat and tidy through turns 2 and 3. Max Verstappen on the radio.
Just 15 laps to go here for the rest of this race right now. Verstappen still leading in first. Perez 18.2 seconds behind him, followed by Alonso 14.6 seconds behind Perez. Crucially, Alonso building a gap to Russell, 7.4 currently. Alonso doing very well to stay in third currently. He'll be very chuffed with that. Sainz currently in fifth behind Russell, who's in fourth. Gasly notably in sixth, and Lance Stroll, who's yet to make a stop, in seventh. Leclerc in 8th, finally moving a little bit further up towards where he started. Magnussen in 9th, Hamilton in 10th. Magnussen doing very well today so far in that Haas, of course.
The Red Bull seem to be leaving this pit stop very late, currently on lap 43 of 57. Max yet to make a pit stop.
And we do finally see Stroll go into the pits. And let's see how that goes and where he should come out, of course, starting all the way down in 18th. Let's see where he comes out at the end.
Russell being
it's a bit of a
asked
slow
some
one.
feedback. Yeah, not great from Lance Stroll. 3-second pit stop for him.
Stroll comes
Let's
out
see
in
where he brings
15th
himself
place.
out.
So he comes out ahead of Norris, so still made up 3 places. However, got a little bit of a distance to go until Hulkenberg, so not right up there. But at the same time, Hulkenberg on 9-lap-old medium tires with still 15 laps to go. So perhaps those tires might not make it very well to the end. So Stroll will be aiming for that, of course, on fresher tires himself on those mediums. So let's see how Stroll
Look
does.
how dirty that track is, though. We see so much litter and debris left on the side where the drivers aren't driving, thankfully. But yes, looking quite gusty still out there on track. The gap, though, to Sergio Perez still ever increasing as we see Roger Federer on the sides of the track having... Was it not?
It had a thing up, but it certainly wasn't Roger Federer, whoever that was.
Well, my feed isn't the clearest at the moment, so I can't really see faces. I just took the banner that they put there.
Just following along with Alonso at the moment, who's had such a good race up to now. And should nothing go wrong in these last few laps, he should have had probably arguably the best race of the lot in terms of happiness. Currently sitting in third, very comfortably, almost whole 8 seconds ahead of Russell. And the car looking very good there for Aston Martin.
Verstappen once again making his way to the end of his lap right now, coming through the second to last corner, the last big braking point. Will he come to the pits this lap? Let's see. No, still leaving himself out on track for now. Red Bull seemingly very comfortable on the set of old hards.
You've got to start wondering now, they're taking up so many laps. Do you reckon that they might move on to softs for the very end?
I think they may as well. I mean, they're going to have, at this point, 12 laps to do, which is half of the stint that the mediums did. They might even just extend it out so long that they can just do maybe 7 laps on a set of softs.
Perez now starting to push a little bit with a new fastest lap of 1:30.89. And will Perez try and come out ahead of Verstappen at the moment? He is within touching distance, of course, of that. So Verstappen might well try and extend it to go onto the softs to try and take his teammate. We might see a little bit of racing between the 2 Red Bulls near the end of this race.
Perez really needs to push now a little bit if he wants to hold on to that net lead of the race. Max Verstappen still yet to make a stop. Sergio Perez 18.3 seconds behind, but critically a pit stop here takes on average around 17 seconds. So we could still see Max Verstappen leading the race by about 1 second.
A new fastest lap has been set by Lance Stroll all the way down in 15th. So that'll be something that the Aston Martin drivers will be looking at very keenly. Box has been given for Max Verstappen from Red Bull. So Max Verstappen will go in. Let's see where he comes out in comparison to his teammate Perez as he's going down the pits.
More importantly, what does he come out on?
And those are
what
soft
tires do they put on that car? Not the fastest stop for them, but good enough. 3.1 seconds. Certainly not a sub 3 or sub 2 second, but 3.1 is... it's good enough for now. He will most likely lose the race lead as he does. But Perez goes right past him. But what will be the gap between those two?
Yeah, just a 1.3-ish gap from Verstappen to Perez, a 1.4 now. But
he does have
Perez,
a set of mediums, not a set of softs.
Yeah, it's just the inside there that I saw, and for some reason thought soft.
Max Verstappen should be able to start catching the Red Bull of Sergio Perez quite quickly. Very, very accurate predictions, though, from Red Bull. They said to Max, if he puts his net loss should be about 1.7 seconds to Sergio Perez. He should come up 1.7 seconds behind him. And as he came out the pits, it was exactly 1.7 seconds. It just shows how incredible these strategists calculations are on the pit wall.
Verstappen already down to 1.2 seconds now. 1 second gap to Perez. So he's really gaining very, very quickly here.
I don't think we expected it to take very long, but when will he take his first lunge at his teammate Sergio Perez? Now, underneath that DRS 1 second zone, he is in DRS. Sergio Perez out on a set of hard tires, 25 laps old. Max Verstappen on brand new mediums, about to finish his first lap on those tires. So there you go, PT, down in the comments. Max Verstappen having a clean pit. Not the fastest, but good enough to keep him in second position. Now 0.6 seconds off of Sergio Perez for the race lead.
Now, they've got to be careful, the two of them, because, of course, they are drivers' championship opponents, both of them in first and second, respectively. So they need to make sure that there's no hard feelings and poor moves from either of them, as I'm sure we'll see Verstappen make a lunge on Perez, and they cannot make contact. If they do, disaster could strike.
I'm sure that they will be having some chats with their race engineers, just saying, keep it clean, boys. Do not make any unnecessary moves. As we see Max Verstappen getting so close now to Sergio Perez, 0.3 seconds between those two.
Verstappen very, very close to his teammate Perez there. As James says, poor Perez. Red Bull not really giving him the best shot, are they? And Max Verstappen should surely take Perez on this last DRS straight, as he gets very, very close to him. And he's already so close to him without the DRS at the moment. Max Verstappen now going with that slipstream. Perez defending, but Max Verstappen is not going to get ahead of him. Perez really defending. So it's proper racing between the two Red Bull drivers. Max Verstappen gets very close to Perez now, going off that opening straight. He's got DRS now. He's very, very close to Perez. Will he be able to make a stick? He goes on the outside. Perez cannot do anything about it. And Max Verstappen, although Perez is on the inside line, he's holding it, and he's still really fighting. Max Verstappen does manage to
getting
make a stick
so close between
eventually.
The two Red Bulls. Max Verstappen, though, keeping it super neat and tidy. 10 laps left to go for this race. Max now up into P1 yet again. That got quite tense there, but yes, Max Verstappen still keeping it neat and tidy out on track. Sergio Perez, I'm sure, will be a bit disappointed, but his teammate just had a stellar day out there on track.
Now, very, very well done for Max. They're just biding his time, waiting to the absolute last minute to stay ahead of Perez as he came out of that first corner after two DRS attempts.
Perez having a little bit of a look, though, down the inside on Max Verstappen, as Max is regenerating a bit of battery power down there, but still able to hold on to that P1 position right now. Just having another look at this pass from Max Verstappen, just having to take a double stab at it almost, trying to dummy Perez to go all the way to the inside. Max just hanging it around the outside and keeping that momentum to get ahead of Sergio Perez. Just going back on what James said there in the comments, poor Perez, Red Bull not really giving him the best shot, are they? I think they did give him quite a good shot. They put him on what should have been the best strategy out there today. It's certainly the strategy that everyone else took, but Max Verstappen just able to have a bit more pace out there on track on a set of hards. Max Verstappen now setting the fastest lap of the race. That should certainly be a new lap record, a 1:30.637. George Russell down in fourth, 8.4 seconds off of Fernando Alonso at the moment, the last podium position. I don't think we will be seeing George Russell making too much of an inroads on Alonso's gap there, but you never know what could happen in the last 10 laps of this race.
So we see Stroll here making a move on Albon ahead of him. Stroll in 14th, Albon in 13th. Stroll getting right alongside him on the outside, but couldn't get around. But now he's very close on that start-finish straight. DRS open. He makes a move around the outside. Will he make it stick? Albon's going to stick to that inside line. Stroll really going around the outside. He should make a stick as he goes around the next corner. He does indeed. Stroll takes Albon, moves into 13th place now with Tsunoda in sights.
Just a comment here from James saying Red Bull Pitwall have reportedly been constantly talking to Verstappen about strategy and gaps, while apparently it's been radio silence for Perez, leaving Checo blind. We'll see what comes out after. Yes, certainly we will see what comes out after, and we will be sure to let you know about all of what unfolds after the race. I mean, if Red Bull are showing such clear bias there to Max Verstappen, that's certainly, it's not great. It's not a great look for the team as a whole. Any remark there, Mark, or just gonna?
I don't know if Red Bull are indeed favouring them, because I mean there have been a few times we've heard Checo on the radio there, so I'm not sure what it would have been, and also I think we would have heard radio messages on Verstappen's side, of course, into our stream. So we're not so sure as to how much radio silence there might have been, but of course it's up to the drivers to ask for information. If the information is given, then fantastic.
Yes, precisely. We also heard Max saying earlier in the race that he wanted more. Sorry, just listening to Fernando Alonso there, just asking what position is Lance in at the moment.
How's that for Fernando Alonso? Sorry to say, Fernando Alonso has seen the fact that Stroll has got ahead and made a move in turn 1, which means that he's not just racing right now; he's watching the screens around the stadium. He saw the fact that
he's got so much time at the moment to do what he wants. He can he's watching TV right now. He's as much of a fan as all of us are. He has lost a little bit of time to George Russell there, currently sitting at 7.5 second gap between those two drivers. Maybe because he has been watching the screens a bit too much, he's lost about a second. Perez on the radio. Just asking if Max is struggling at the moment, and then Sergio's engineer just saying he is managing in sector 1. Currently that gap between the two leaders is sitting at 1.9 seconds. 16 seconds though, all the way back down to Fernando Alonso, those Red Bulls, yet again in a league of their own in another race this season.
Yuki Tsunoda here making a move on Bottas on that long DRS straight right before the start-finish straight as well. He's got DRS wide open. Bottas moved to the inside lane. Tsunoda's going to have to go around the outside if he wants to make it stick, but he's going to brake late, and he might well have taken.
Yes, he
Bottas.
does make it. He does make it stick there, looking very neat and tidy. Yuki Tsunoda on a set of mediums, while Bottas is on an old set of hards.
But Bottas is coming right back at him, but not going to make it work. Now Stroll is smelling blood. He's just right on the back of Bottas now as well.
Stroll might see a chance of a top 10 here. Of course, still a bit of a gap to Kevin Magnussen, but you never know what could happen here.
Of course, tyre degradation playing a huge part. Stroll on much fresher tyres than the rest of the field, so it'll be much easier for him to get further ahead because he doesn't have to worry too much about tyre degradation as the rest of them do, as Stroll is really making a battle here for 12th, right on the back of Bottas. His DRS is open. Could he make it move here in that second DRS straight? And he's going around the outside. Will he make it stick? Bottas crucially having DRS on Tsunoda to stay ahead.
Lance Stroll making... Oh, looking at a bit of a dive, maybe making a bit of a switchback here. No, not able to get close enough to Valtteri Bottas there. Just having a look here, though, at the result from our poll, asking who will win the Miami Grand Prix. 41% of you said that Sergio Perez would take the win here today. 34% saying Verstappen, 14% for other, and 9% for Carlos Sainz.
Stroll now making a move on Bottas on that DRS straight. Will he make it stick? He does stick down the inside, and he will. And he has taken Bottas there. Stroll does very well to get into 12th place, and now we'll be going after Tsunoda, of course, but lots of time to make up for Magnussen, who's currently sitting with the points he so desperately wants.
He doesn't have a lot of time to get past Yuki Tsunoda as he just defends from Valtteri Bottas back into turn 1. He now has 5 laps left of this race to catch Yuki Tsunoda for 11th position. Max Verstappen currently with the fastest lap of this race. That will give him a extra point for the championship. So currently Max will increase his lead by another 26 points. Perez, of course, also getting a handful of points for taking second in this race. So we will have to see the updated drivers' constructors, but it should pretty much stay the same for now.
Charles Leclerc currently in 7th. He's got DRS on Gasly ahead of him. It's a battle that we've not seen all day. Charles Leclerc finally getting involved in the cameras, not really seen him. And right on the back of that Alpine in 6th place. Can Leclerc make a move on him?
Tidy there.
got his
Phil
DRS
just saying
open, and
easy
he's going on the
Verstappen.
start finish straight. He goes around the outside. He's not going to make it stick, unfortunately, but he's so close. Although the Alpine makes a mistake, could this go around? And he does get around, and
Oh,
Charles
yes,
Leclerc
he
does
does.
just get past Gasly. Gasly, crucially, unfortunately, locking up as he goes there and braking a bit late to try and stay ahead of Charles Leclerc in defense. And Charles Leclerc now moves just behind his teammate Carlos Sainz, but still a 14-second gap. So Leclerc not really going to get close enough, but does move into 6th place. So at least he'll get some more points for Ferrari.
We now see Lewis Hamilton smelling a bit of blood, looking at making a move on Pierre Gasly. I'm sure he will want to get up into that 7th position.
Getting really, really close. He's going to dive down the inside, and he's very close to Charles Leclerc as well now. Charles Leclerc is going to come under some danger from Hamilton, as Hamilton has made it stick against Gasly. A very easy overtake for Hamilton, who moves into 7th and within DRS range of Charles Leclerc ahead of him, with that DRS zone coming right up after these tricky little turns in Sector 2.
Now see them making their way down that long back straight. Lewis Hamilton just getting around that corner and making his way down now, approaching the DRS zone. DRS now wide open as he makes his way closer to Charles Leclerc. Currently about a 30-kilometer-an-hour difference between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, with Lewis having that advantage with the DRS wide open. Do you think Hamilton will be able to get close enough to Charles Leclerc? It's certainly looking very close right now. 0.4 seconds splitting those two drivers. .31 meters splitting Charles Leclerc and Hamilton right now. Russell on the radio saying just asking who is that ahead of Fernando, just saying that is Sargent, it is a lapped car. Just George getting a bit excited, hoping that there was a bit of an issue for one of the cars at the front. 0.4 seconds now between
Lewis Hamilton making a move on Charles Leclerc, goes down the inside and does make a stick. Charles Leclerc cannot hold it back, and Lewis Hamilton moves into 6th. And after that second DRS zone, great move from Hamilton. Charles Leclerc now going to try and bite back at him on that DRS straight that comes up, but can he stay within range of Lewis Hamilton? Great move there from the 7-time world champion as he moves now onto that long straight. Can Charles Leclerc bite back at him? I doubt it, although he is getting very close to him already. So Charles Leclerc could try and bite back. The DRS opens just about now, and how close can he get to Lewis Hamilton ahead of him? Not going to be close enough, I don't think. So Lewis Hamilton does brilliantly to get ahead and into 6th place. Max Verstappen very, very easily in the lead there with a 3-second gap to his teammate Perez. Alonso 20 seconds behind Perez, but crucially 7.5 seconds ahead of Russell. A great day for Fernando Alonso, an even better day for the Red Bulls. Mercedes, though, in 4th and 6th respectively. Ferrari 5th and 7th. And the two Alpines in 8th and 9th. And Magnussen, crucially, in 10th. And should he not lose it, he's only got a 3-second gap to Tsunoda. Should hold on to that and get some more points for Haas today. Lance Stroll now also within touching distance of Tsunoda, just 0.7 seconds behind him. Could Stroll take him in the last 2 laps here? Looking at it, there's no way he's going to get points today, unfortunately, unlike his teammate Alonso, who's going to get quite a few and end up in another 3rd place. He's making this, like that part of the podium, very much his at the moment this season in that Aston Martin. So, yeah, great day for Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin in terms of that 3rd place, but Stroll, yeah, all the way down in 12th.
3.9 seconds now splitting Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. As I say that, it increases to 4.1 seconds. Max just setting some blistering lap times out there, possibly trying to beat his fastest time yet again.
And Max Verstappen coming very close to starting the last lap of the race. Absolutely no safety cars, no yellow flags whatsoever in today's race. And I'm just so surprised by the absolute lack of incidents we've had in today's race. Just pure clean racing throughout the entire thing. Every single car is still currently out on track. So it could be the first time this season that we'll finish with all the cars as we do start the final lap. Verstappen gets going.
It's unfortunate for the American fans who seem to love seeing crashes at races. We've seen, obviously, in NASCAR how they absolutely cheer and go crazy when they see a massive accident. But neat and tidy racing from all of the Formula One drivers here today. Not a single retirement from first all the way down to 20th. Logan Sargent down in 20th, so far off the pace of everyone else at the moment, currently sitting 11 seconds off of the back of Oscar Piastri. Piastri also not having a great day at the moment, sitting 23 seconds behind Nick de Vries.
And once again, you have to question Piastri's decision not to go to Alpine, who are currently sitting up in 8th and 9th.
Last lap now, of course, Max Verstappen yet again trying to put in a blistering lap time, certainly looking that way right now. Max Verstappen currently doing 250 kilometers, increasing now to 300 down the last back straight. Not long left till the end of this race. Max Verstappen going 323 kilometers an hour down that back straight, coming down to the second to last corner now, braking last corner as he now approaches the start-finish line. And Max Verstappen takes the win here in Miami for the second year in a row. Just having an absolutely incredible day out here today as we see Sergio Perez crossing the line. Max Verstappen making his way all the way down from P9 up to P1.
And Fernando Alonso now coming around the final couple of turns to take third place in the last podium position of the race here. Fantastic drive there for Alonso and Aston Martin. He takes another third place this season. Russell will be just around the corner, followed by Sainz, followed by Hamilton, followed by Leclerc. Leclerc currently just within DRS range of Hamilton, so could he make a late lunge? I doubt he'll be able to get close enough. Stroll, meanwhile, is also trying to take a late lunge, last-minute thing on Tsunoda here. He's within DRS range. He's moving right towards him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get close enough.
No, he's just way too far back at this moment. But nonetheless, a good race from Lance Stroll, who started very far back down the grid. Certainly fighting for pride out here today, not having a good race at all compared to his teammate Fernando Alonso, who is up in that final podium position of third. So for the moment, our current grid finishes are Max Verstappen P1, Sergio Perez P2, Fernando Alonso P3, George Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Hamilton 6th, Leclerc 7th, Gasly 8th, Ocon 9th, Kevin Magnussen 10th. Take us through the last 10 mark.
And then we have Tsunoda in 11, Stroll in 12, Bottas 13, Albon 14, Hulkenberg in 15, Schoen 16, Norris 17, De Vries 18, Piastri in 19th, and Logan Sargent, the homeboy, all the way down in 20th. Another star-studded day for Red Bull. All points available, all went to Red Bull in terms of the maximum amount of points they could get today. And Alonso there getting some good points haul as well for his Drivers' Constructors' Championship points, and Aston Martin getting some good points to try and stay somewhat ahead in that third position, ahead of the Mercedes. However, good points haul for Mercedes too. Russell in 4th, Hamilton in 6th. Ferrari will be looking at Leclerc and Sainz, thinking they could have done more. Sainz starting in 3rd, Leclerc starting in 8th, and only managing to make one position for Leclerc, and Sainz losing 2. So, yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you a question, Mark. Just going back to the beginning of this race weekend where you spoke of this curse that we often have with special liveried cars.
Well,
certainly words a bit with that
I'm
now?
not eating my words. I'm just saying that there was definitely a thing that seems to happen every now and then. It didn't happen today. And
Every now and then, but not with Red Bull. For some reason, whenever Red Bull seem to run a special livery, they still have a good day out on track, unlike the Mercedes, who haven't had the greatest of luck with a special livery.
Perez, they're just funny enough. He seems calm on the radio, doesn't seem to be too upset about life. But in his car, quite funny enough, has parked it right along Max Verstappen instead of taking it a little bit further back to try and make it seem as if they are equal. I do enjoy that a little bit. Perez, they're pretty much right alongside.
They did put the finishing numbers all in line with each other.
They're not in line with each other. They're not. Sergio Perez is literally touching his Max Verstappen is a good half a meter behind. So I do enjoy that a little bit from Sergio Perez, just going right up to make it as close as possible for himself.
Max Verstappen clearly very, very happy with his finishing position here today, just celebrating with the team. I don't know if he has yet to go and speak to Sergio Perez. I think there is a bit of a rivalry going on between those two at the moment, for sure.
Fernando Alonso not getting out of the car and going and celebrating with his team, and that Aston Martin team is getting quite used to the cameras these days, very often having to celebrate podium positions. I mean, something Aston Martin are not used to, but Fernando Alonso very chuffed with his drive out there today.
Martin Moleski just saying in the comments, thanks, guys. Appreciate the coverage and commentary. Thank you very much for tuning in with us. It has been great to have you all watching alongside with us and chatting to us in the comment section. Max and Sergio just having a bit of a chat now, just trying to turn up my coverage so I can hear what they are possibly saying. Just a bit too soft to hear.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much for watching the Miami Grand Prix live stream with us, of course. Be sure to stay here. You're going to be directed straight on to the race review that we're going to go over it, of course. And yeah, thank you so much for streaming into Forever Motorsports. That finishes the Miami Grand Prix. Max Verstappen 1, Perez in 2, and Alonso in 3, crucially. And yeah, of course, join us for the next Grand Prix as well. But nonetheless, we'll see you into the next stream where we review the race and let us know your thoughts there as well. Reese, any final thoughts before we head across that stream?
No, just, I mean, an absolute masterclass from Max again today, starting in P9 and making his way all the way up into P1, just showing such dominance once again over the rest of the grid.
Indeed. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll head on into a review right now. Goodbye.